Man, I'm about to be on the call in a few.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the books is in. The books are in. Yep. They're in. They're here. ETM Hotel, Rennie, Shawn, welcome to Peace. My name is Shawn. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to episode 8 of Science with Shawn. I was going to wait till later today, but I'm just not going to hold my tongue on the situation. There's some breaking news that I want to bring forth to everybody and kind of get into the bill. So if you don't catch it live, you'll catch it on a replay. Again, like the show, share the show. I don't expect a lot of people to actually be involved with the show today. One reason is thank Garfield live presently, and not too many people are aware of that. You know what I'm saying? They're over there beating up the Hebrew dude again, sparring, I guess, mental sparring a little bit, but that's cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, and people that are viewing, in the description are all the source links that we will be talking about today. Again, every source link that we will have a discussion about today is in the description. I advise everyone to grab the links. Please grab the links. Make sure that you have what you need, and so that we actually can build on this information, and we will get it cracking. Just bear with me one moment. I am sharing the show, and then we will get into our breaking news portion first. And then we will continue on with our bill after the fact. So what I'm doing now is I am organizing my facts. And before I get started, I do have Brother T'Challa on the panel with me for a little bit. I know he got stuff to do. So T'Challa, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, peace to all that's viewing and that will be viewing in the archives. Shawn back at it again. He been on the roll. Organizing this truth. I hear you. I'm gonna go and mute out and take notes. If I hop off, like I said, you already know what's up.
Yeah, I got you. Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm gonna get to sharing my screen, and we're gonna get right to it. So, all right, I think everybody can see my screen. This is a 3-minute read, so I'm gonna kind of get through this, and I want to deal with it immediately off the bat. New coronavirus strand spreading in UK has key mutations, scientists say. So there's a new strand that is spreading. All right. Again, this was published 2 hours ago. All right. Today's the 15th. It was published 2 hours ago. More information to come. British scientists are trying to establish whether the rapid spread in southern England or a new variant of the virus that causes COVID-19 is linked to mutation that have detected in the strand, they said on Tuesday. The mutation included changes to the important spike protein that SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus uses to infect human cells. A group of scientists tracking the genetics of the virus said, but it is not clear yet whether these are making it more infectious. Efforts are on the way to confirm whether or not any of these mutations are contributing to an increased transmission. The scientists from the COVID-19 genomics in the UK consortium said in an earlier statement. There's the link right here. Opening a new tab. The new variant, which the UK scientists named VUI 2020-12/01, includes a mutation in the viral genome region encoding the spike protein, which in theory could result in COVID-19 spreading more easily between people. The British government on Monday cited a rise in new infection, which it said may be partly linked to the new variant as it moved its capital city and many other areas into the highest tier of COVID-19 restriction. As of December 13th, 1,108 COVID cases with the new variant had been identified, predominantly in the South and East England, Public Health England said in a statement. But there is currently no evidence that the variant is more likely to cause severe COVID-19 infection, the scientists said, or that it would render vaccine less effective. Both questions require further studies performed at pace, which is the COG UK scientists said. Mutations or genetic changes arise naturally in all viruses, including SARS-CoV-2, as they replicate and circulate in human populations. Now, in the case of SARS-CoV, these mutations are accumulating at a rate around 1 to 2 mutations per month globally. Okay. Now, as a result of this ongoing process, many thousands of mutations have already arisen in SARS-CoV-2 genome since the virus emerged in 2019, they said. I was looking at the chat, my bad. Yeah, PCK, Peace Mal, Peace Dave, Boss in the chat, Teddy in there, Rob Rand, Peace. Now, the majority of the mutations seen so far have no apparent effect on the virus, and only a minority are likely to change the virus in any significant way, for example, making it more able to infect people, more likely to cause severe illness, or less sensitive to natural or vaccine-induced immune defenses. Susan Hopkins, a PhD medical advisor, said it's not expected that the virus should evolve, and it's important that we should spot any changes quickly to understand potential risk. She said the new variant is being detected in a wide geography, especially where there are increased cases being detected. All right, so that's that article right there. It is also in our description of the video. So, new virus detected. A new variant of the virus detected. All right, this is just to bag it up. Okay, this is ICOG UK, right? This is what we got out of the article that we just read. New SARS-CoV-2 variant. We're talking about a new CoV-2 variant. Okay. The UK picked it up. They're tracing it, tracking it, doing everything they need to do. That's basically what we just read out the actual article. And good news is that they're catching this. Remember when SARS-CoV-2, COVID-19 began to spread, when it spread from China to Europe to America, and begin to spread in other places. They started checking the genome, right? They started checking different variants of the particular virus. This is how they were able to go in and deal with the molecular structure or of what they were trying to do to manifest the vaccine, right? The mRNA. All right, I might be saying a little bit backwards, but I know I need to slow it down, but it just comes off like that. All right. When it got to America, it wasn't the same strain that was detected in China. So it had mutated. And they figured it had mutated, and they had to figure out this structure. In order to build the vaccine the way that they actually did, they had to understand the variant. And this is where we are right now with this news. This is news that you went to bed on and woke up to. Many of us, or some of us, didn't wake up to it at all, and just, everything else is on our mind. But yeah, I mean, come on, y'all. This is gonna be a little long show. I know arguing with Hebrews is a little bit important, but like the show, share the show. I'm not trying to compete for views with anybody. I'm actually talking about a health scare. And this is a huge situation. Now, I'm going to drop this link right here into the chat. This goes into a little bit more specific detail regarding what we just read to you when we open the door. New Cove Strand, everything in the chat. There you go. All right. Now, this article backs up the first article that I read. Just so people think that, Reuters is not making it up. So there you go. You have 3 scientific articles relating to the same topic. All are recently published. Okay. Recently published. So this is right now breaking news stuff. All right. While they still talking about Trump trying to overthrow the electoral and all this other stuff, this is going down right now, and scientists are paying attention to it. Scientists have identified a new variant of coronavirus, which may link to faster spread of COVID-19 in the south of England. Now, it hasn't spread to other areas as of right now, undetected. We don't know. They're assuming that it hasn't appeared in other areas in the UK. But eventually more information will come out about that. So we need to keep our eyes and ears out on the spread of a new variant of this virus, because that's crucial. Now, does that stop the vaccine companies from being able to, vaccinating people? No, it doesn't stop that. Will the vaccine be able to defend against this particular variant? Highly. That's highly, but we still do not have an honest answer for that. So again, man, come on, y'all. Like the show, share the show. I know many of you, you have other interests, but I'm going in today. I should have did this earlier, but I had stuff to do. I had to send a book to Texas, take care of some personal stuff, get my car washed. That was personal. I got my car washed before it looked like it was about to rain, so my car's in the garage now. I'm clean. I'm gonna be clean for about a week because that mug ain't moving. And stat on that. So what is this new strain, right? They called it, and I said it last read, is the VUI 2020-12/01. It's the first variant under investigation in December. So they have been tracking and monitoring the coronavirus since last year, and a new variant has appeared a year later. So we need to be paying close attention. I'm not going to read all of this. I did put it in the article there, but I did want to start the show off with this breaking news. And then I wanted to get into some more positive information and things of that nature, how I got it listed in the source group. So before I move any further, I'm going to look in the chat real quick just to kind of scan over and see if anybody had anything to say outside of that and go from there. But the real question, Shawn, is has this made it outside of the UK? No, it has not made it out of the UK. It haven't made it, in some of the places in the UK it hasn't shown up or appeared. Therefore, it has not reared its ugly head beyond there. Now, I don't know what could cause it to mutate or cause a different variant of itself. If it's adapting, right? Because we've seen it, and then people was like, it's not going to make it through the summer. It's going to die out because of the heat. Nah, it went right on through the summer. And now it's the wintertime again, in which it reared its ugly head a year ago. And now it could be, this new variant could be just an adaptation, uh, to what's going on around it. So it's look, man, this is a blind war you're fighting. And I'm saying you're because it's personal. That means you fighting it, you don't know you fighting it. I'm fighting it, I know I don't fight it. Satep, Sutek, Kofi, Ankh, the Mossi, all the research teams, we're fighting a blind fight individually. The only thing that can help us is by masking up, staying inside. If we have to go out, mask up, make sure we're washing our hands. Yeah.
You sure Yahweh Shah can't get us up out of this?
Man, hell no. They been trying though. They over there arguing about it, trying to get us up out of it. Ain't happening. As we make groundbreaking strides a year after this pandemic began, a new variant is in our face. A new variant of this, and they're saying this is allowing it to spread quicker. So again, we must pay attention to detail. We must pay attention to detail. This thing has not gone outside of the UK as of right now, but they are still researching and showing. Because if they, if somebody gets tested, they gonna go in there and they gonna look for the they gonna see if they got the antibodies. They gonna do everything they need to do to tell us. Right? So we just, we need to deal with it. See, here's the quote right here from the Imperial College London. There is no evidence that the newly reported variant results in more of a severe disease. That's one of the quotes. And then there's another one saying it's outside, that it's actually left outside of the UK, because there's some areas that have not confirmed anything, and we just need to be. There's another personal quote. There's no evidence that the newly reported variant results in more severe disease. SARS-CoV-2 RNA virus and mutations are expected to occur. It replicates. So that's what we do know. The head of Department of Infectious Disease, Imperial College of London. Some variants with changes in the spike protein have already been observed as the virus is intensely sequenced here in the UK and around the world. So while scientists continue to look at that, we just need to make sure that we're prepared, that we stay prepared, that we're on our game. All right. I want to transition into today's conversation with Dr. Fauci from the other day, and just to get his update, since he's the lead head, the face of this whole thing. I wanted to let him build himself on this, but I wanted to see if anybody had any questions in the chat or if everybody cool. Yeah, Chavis kind of got it in. I didn't know that. Yeah. I kind of snuck that in, this new variant. So again, all the sources are in the description. If you're just now joining into the conversation, we begin the show with breaking news about a new variant of the COVID-19. I mean, of the COVID-19 virus. Right now, it's in the UK. It's been detected in the UK. And they're not saying that it's more severe or anything like that. Just basically, it's on the rise. One of the things that they're saying about this, if you read the article, is that they're thinking that this is causing it to spread more freely and quickly among people, what this variant is doing. So it's mutating, and it's constantly mutating. So it's acting similar, similar to the flu virus. You know what I mean? It's acting like every other pathogen. Is just a more novel pathogen that takes a different approach. So the science has to stay solid. This is something that has to evolve with the the mutation of this particular pathogen, and we must be aware of it. Shout out to whoever thumbed down the video. I appreciate you. Appreciate the love. Solid.
Hey, Shawn, I want to ask you a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
And peace, Satep, seeing you hop on the panel. And everybody that's joined. Like the video or don't like the video, however you feel. Yeah, we appreciate your feedback. Look, but so this thing, something you just said, we're already seeing seasonal variants of this thing, right? And we understand that COVID acts in ways that are a bit unorthodox and unconventional what we're used to, correct?
Right.
So my question is, what's wrong with us doing the same thing with this, this new form of vaccine you've been kind of, educating the people about and all that kind of stuff? What's wrong? Why can't we take the same measures? What's wrong with that?
We have a complex of evolving, and we're selective with our evolving. We will get a new body style car, new TV, everything is material. We can evolve in that area. But scientifically, we can't evolve because we don't. Some people think that evolution is fake. Some people think that we've always been here. Some people don't understand that pathogens evolve, and therefore they don't see the seriousness in it until it's at their doorstep. You know what I mean? So we have a complex to where we just don't want to get outside of ourselves when it comes to medicine. We don't want to be educated on it. We hold a high level of ignorance in the area, especially in the subject matter of vaccines and how they work and how they're made. And we always think that we're the experiment. This is too damn serious for you to play an ignorant game and say that they experiment on us. People are dying. Black, white, brown, orange, red, green, or yellow. This don't matter. Now, I know some people are like, well, people die every day, B. Absolutely correct. People do. But people also have the ability to prevent death. If I have the ability and the control to prevent death, why am I not going to do everything in my willpower to prevent death? Know what I'm saying? And right now, we're not getting immunity without a vaccine. You heard the last episode, we talked we was building on last night. Person infected, Dr. Hildreth. We brought out Dr. Hildreth, our Black immunologist, virologist, lead, was one of the members of the FDA committee to approve vaccination. State, when answering a question that was posed by the guy in Texas, I think it was Texas, that somebody had, contracted COVID-19 3 times. But he was saying the person never developed antibodies. And Dr. Hilder said, I would like to see that person because that is a case study worth researching and looking into, because we need to know why this person, one person, is not developing antibodies. What's the science behind that? He immediately yielded the floor to wanting to know more about the science behind that. But we, the people, the laymen, who are not caught too much up on technical jargon, we don't have time to read an article that I just read that takes 3 minutes. That's too much. Or go through the article and then when they get to the big words, right click on your mouse if you're on a laptop and look up the word to get a better understanding. Or, go to Google, what people do anyway for all the other information, and just search and see what the word actually means so we can get a better understanding. we always are trying to find a working definition to further the study and the research that we're doing on a particular subject. So let's just dumb it down. Let's just be methodical in our dumbing down so that we know how to take the proper measures to save a generation or 2 or 3 or 4. Before I go in and start a video or anything, Sutep, or I don't know if anybody else joined. You got anything? Sutep?
Yeah, man. Peace to the fam. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Make sure y'all like and share the show. Please like and share the show, man. My brother Shawn is putting in a lot of work to bring y'all this information, man. And you can show your support in the form of a like and a share. That's all we asking for. So make sure you like and share the show. Make sure you take something home, take something away from this video. So get your pen and your pad out. Let's go.
Peace to Sister Benita LB. People that are looking at that are not commenting, peace to you. What we're going to do is we're going to start the second part of the show. And we're going to, for everybody that's just now joining us, because it is a few more people, but we dealt with the new variant of the virus that's been detected in the UK. So we just need to make sure that we're paying attention to that. This thing is, a new variant is here. Not here in America, but right now it's in the UK. Eventually it'll be here. Unless certain measures are taken to actually prevent that from happening. But scientists are going to have to communicate and continue to communicate consistently to fight this blind war that we're fighting globally. But let's go ahead and get to the second part of this. We're going to deal with some Q&A information with JAMA. Like I said, this is free information. We have the ability to be able to review and research this and play it. This is emergency information that was recorded 4 days ago. And it's from the lead person himself, Dr. Fauci. And let's see what Dr. Fauci is saying and see if we can correlate anything like that. And then we will get into some other emphasis, some much better news toward the end.
Hello and welcome to Conversations with Dr. Bachner. Once again, it is Howard Bachner, editor-in-chief of JAMA. And I'm here with Anthony Fauci, Tony Fauci. I think at this point, Tony needs no introduction. So welcome, Tony.
Good to be with you, Howard. Thank you for having me.
Why don't we get to the questions? I thought we'd bucket them. And I'd like to end with the vaccines. It's an extraordinary story, a positive story. But Tony, let's start with the struggle, the troubling numbers. When I interviewed you about a month before Thanksgiving and I asked you, could you talk a little bit about Thanksgiving and Christmas? You said, I'd prefer not to even touch Christmas or the holidays because let's get through Thanksgiving. The numbers are frightening, Tony. 100,000 people hospitalized. More than 3,000 people in the last few days have died each day. How's this going to play out over the next 2 or 3 months, Tony?
Howard, I'm really concerned. I'm concerned because the numbers that we're looking at as of yesterday and today, as you mentioned correctly, are record-breaking. I mean, we have over 2,000 people who die each day. Yesterday, it was 3,000 people. We have, as you said, over 200. Yesterday was 241,000 new cases. We have over 100,000 hospitalizations, and we're approaching a totality of 300,000 deaths. It's 289 as of last night, 289,000. We have not yet seen the full brunt of the travel and the family get-togethers socially with dinner and friends over Thanksgiving. Likely that will peak in the beginning of next week because it's usually about 2 to 2.5 weeks following a particular event when people congregate or when you have people getting involved in situations that are high probability of transmission. That would mean that given that today is the 11th of December, next week you're halfway through, you're going to go right up until the beginning of the travel period of Christmas. and we're going to do the whole thing over again. We're going to have more people traveling. And instead of just having a weekend of the holiday, it's well over a week. It's Christmas, the week between Christmas and New Year's, and then New Year's. I'm really concerned that if we don't have the population as a whole, Howard, seriously realize that this type of a situation is high risk, that means that the recommendation, as stern as this sounds, it's not insensitive. It's just good public health. Limit as much as you possibly can your travel. You must say that this may be the time that we're not going to gather with 15, 20, 25 people at a big dinner with family and friends, as much as the season, essentially, that's part of the season that we've traditionally experienced and loved. This may be the time to say, you know, we're entering into a very, very difficult time of December, January, and into the heart of the winter. Although we're getting some relief, and we will very soon, as we'll discuss, I'm sure, in a moment, with vaccines, the fact is vaccines are not going to have a public health impact for at least several months. It may have an impact of protecting individual people, but from a public health impact, it will likely be several months before we get the full positive impact of a vaccine. So it's in our hands now by mitigating with public health measures. And it's particularly challenging given the terribly historic numbers that we're seeing.
Tony, do you think, I've been trying to figure out how to convince people to mass social distance, not travel, keep gatherings to very personal family members. Do you think religious leaders have a greater role? We're coming up to the season when we talk about your family, your friends, loving and caring for your neighbors. And for me, that starts with healthcare workers. You know, we're just challenging them with more and more cases. Or I go into a store and sometimes see someone without a mask, and I think, you know, do they recognize that they're really unfair to the people in that store? Do you think it's time for religious leaders to step up and really say, this is what you must do? This is actually part of what our code of our religion is.
Yes, I think it's time for any group that has influence by nature of their position in the community should step up and try and help out to get people to appreciate the importance of the public health message. That could be religious leaders, that could be celebrity figures in entertainment, that could be sports figures, people who the community respects, who might say, well, if this person is doing it, well, then maybe I can do it. I mean, if you see a sports hero, or as you said correctly, Howard, you know, faith-based people, religious leaders who do that. The thing that impressed me the most the other evening when I was, you know, catching a 5-minute flash on the TV was an ad showing a nurse coming out of an ICU completely exhausted, you know, with a mask on, saying, please, you know, do something, wear a mask, don't crowd. I just came out of an ICU where there were 25 patients in there that are dying. It was really a very powerful ad.
So, Tony, I want to turn to the good news, and there's quite a few questions already. On April 10th, 2018, you wrote in JAMA with Barney Graham and John Mascola, two of your co-authors, Novel Vaccine Technologies. There's a quote, in summary, emerging viral diseases with pandemic potential are a perpetual challenge to global health. That was obviously the case. And you talked about novel platforms, one of which were DNA or mRNA nucleic acid vaccines. That was 2 years ago. In January, late December, January, we get to genetic code. And yesterday, there's a public hearing about an FDA potential EUA approval of a Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine. Had you ever imagined in your life the capacity of scientists to produce a vaccine in 10 months?
Well, the answer to that, Howard, is an absolute no. I mean, in my wildest dreams, I thought it would be fast, but fast means if it takes 7 years, maybe you can get it down to a couple of years. When we wrote that article in JAMA and talking about the vaccine platform technologies, even then, when I projected what would happen with an emerging infection, even then, 2 years ago, I didn't imagine that we would go from sequence identification to actually having a vaccine in somebody's arm, not a vaccine trial, not, halfway through phase 3, but actually having the vaccine in somebody's arm in less than a year, 11 months to be exact, from January to the beginning of December. It would have been inconceivable to me a year or 2 or 3 ago to think that we were going to be successful in that. There's great news about that. Now it's our challenge to convince people that that wasn't rushed in a reckless way, that it was an expression of the extraordinary scientific advances made with vaccine platform technology and the investment that was made that we've discussed on a previous podcast of the hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars putting up front to get vaccine doses made so that when the EUA is issued, you have vaccines that are ready the next day to go into somebody's arm. And that's where we are today.
Now, thinking about what Dr. Fauci is saying right there, and if you go back to Pseudo Killers and you listen to explain the analogy of how we were able to get to this point, he uses ships. He said when man began to explore the rest of the world after groundbreaking technology existed to get them to even go into the Atlantic. So we're talking 15th century. They went in with, wooden boats, sails, things of that nature that could help them get across, right? To and from. And then over a period of time, you had metal ships begin, during the industrial age. The evolution of a boat, you look at the evolution of a boat, you had smaller wooden planks, right? Those little planks turn into canoes. Those canoes turn into, a little bit bigger, like to the African warships, which was only large canoes that may be about 30 feet. And a bunch of people can get on both sides. So they were wide and they were long, and then you had people in a whole nother region developing small boats. Those small boats evolved into bigger boats. Those bigger boats evolved into what many would call, like ships. Those ships were wooden, and from the wood, they went into metal, right? So I don't even know what they got on these ships now. It could be some fiberglass or anything like that. But there's a process for that. And basically all he was saying was everything evolves and everything has its place. So new technology shouldn't be a fear of ours when we're so easily sold on the iPhone 12 or the Samsung 21 that we ain't looking at what's going on in the technology in those phones. We think it's just a cell phone and it's going to do everything else except for it's going to give us the 5G, technology we need to take better pictures and post them to our social media pages or stream a live video real time and not have image issues and, do these new little, what is that? Holograph images of yourself when you're trying to do a TikTok and all of that stuff. Like serious business. But let's move on a little bit further because it's about 30 minutes or so that Fauci gets in, and I'm gonna cut in every now and then just to try to give it some context, and then we're gonna, end with our breaking news. With our good news, and then review some stuff. So here we go.
Tony, I do want to congratulate the scientists at Pfizer and likely next week Moderna. But I want to go through some of the data that's been released publicly. I really want to comment that I think the FDA really acted incredibly appropriately in taking its time doing the analysis. For me, the goal wasn't for the FDA to approve the EUA first; it was to approve it appropriately, and I think they've taken that to heart. So for all participants, the vaccine efficacy was reported as 95%. And, we have a sophisticated listening group. So I really want to talk a bit about the confidence intervals because they change with certain groups. So it's 90.3 to 97.6%. So efficacy is 95%. Firstly, can you remind people the difference between protecting from disease and protecting from transmitting disease? It remains a source of confusion for many people.
Okay, so it really is simple. The primary endpoint upon which the 95% efficacy was determined was based on the prevention of clinically recognizable disease, not asymptomatic, not infection without symptomatic disease. The secondary endpoint was protection against severe disease requiring hospital intervention. It was also a secondary endpoint, though it wasn't clear whether we could reach it, but we're still looking at that. Does it protect against infection? So a typical scenario could be that someone is protected against infection, and certainly if against infection, against clinically recognizable disease. But there's also a likely scenario where someone is protected against clinically recognizable disease, but they still have replication competent virus in their nasopharynx. Hence, by definition, they are infected. The question is, we don't know yet. Hopefully data in a longer term follow-up or subsequent trials will determine whether or not you have a significant inhibition of actual infection. The other thing that's even a little bit more complicated is that it is conceivable that you could be protected against clinically recognizable disease. You could, however, get infected, but the level of immune response that protected you from clinically recognizable disease would be enough to lower the titer of the virus in your nasopharynx such that you would not be infective. So you could be infected, but not have enough virus in your nasopharynx to transmit it. So we don't know the answer to those last two questions. Does it protect against infection? And if you are infected, does it render the viral load so low that you're not transmitting it to anyone?
Tony, is there enough data from other vaccines over the course of many, many years to know if there often is a substantial difference between those percent of individuals who are protected versus disease versus those protected versus from infection? Because this goes to what would be the number needed to vaccinate in the US to get to herd immunity. Do we know enough from other vaccines to make some projections?
Well, we know from influenza that the efficacy point in influenza is not measured by whether you get infected with influenza. It's measured by whether you sought medical care. So when you see an influenza vaccine that among people between the ages of 30 and 59, how effective it is, the number that you see is the number that protects them against getting infected to the point of requiring some medical attention, like going to the pharmacy and getting an anti-inflammatory and antipyretic. So many people who get protected from influenza don't necessarily get protected against infection.
Tony, there's many questions, but I wanted to ask specifically about two groups. The vote yesterday, I believe, for recommendation for approval to move ahead with the EUA was 17-4, and I think one abstained. And there were a couple of questions about teenagers who are in the group of vaccinated individuals. The data for those who are 65 and older not at risk. Now the numbers get small, and the efficacy, the point efficacy, is above 90% for every group. But for those at greater than 65 and at risk, it was 91.7. But the confidence intervals were as low as 44%, as high as 99%. And if you look at teenagers, the numbers are small. So again, you have the same issue. Are you concerned about the elderly, and they make up 80 or 85% of the deaths? And are you worried about teenagers, the two ends of the age spectrum?
I wouldn't say I'm worried about them, but obviously, when you get that demographic group with a much wider confidence interval, you're less confident. That's why they call them confidence intervals. You're less confident that that point efficacy is there, or maybe a little bit less. But I wouldn't say I worry about it. I say I am always more concerned about responses in the elderly than I am in the young. So if the difference between, a lot of discussion yesterday by the VRPAC was 18 years old versus 16 years old.
Right, I know.
I don't really worry about the difference between a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old, or between a 16-year-old and an 18-year-old. To me, there may be some significant physiological difference there, but it escapes me. I wouldn't say concerned, but I always worry about, whenever we do a vaccine trial, about getting a good degree of efficacy among the elderly. But the thing that was really, I wouldn't say surprising, Howard, but it was gratifying, that when we looked at the data in the phase 1 study, we surprisingly found that the neutralizing antibody levels in the elderly was as good as it was in the younger group. We don't usually see that. So to see a 91% point efficacy in the elderly right now is not surprising.
I want y'all to look at this man's face. Now, y'all seen him when he was pissed off at Trump. You've seen him when he was pissed off in Congress, when they was having those meetings and he kept on having to explain to these idiots certain things. He gets really, really, really red really, really, really quick. But for some reason, in his eyes, and based on the data that he's getting before everybody else, he is certain. Look at the certainty in this man's face. Not only him, but if you go back and look at last night's video when I put up Dr. Hildred, the certainty in this man's face. And from the positions that they're actually speaking based on the evidence that they have. We're going to get into some of the evidence that he actually have, because remember, this video is from last week, and I'm letting it play right now. But we got the data that was supposed to be released this week from Moderna. We're going to look at the application process. We're going to look at the Q&A information in there. We don't have the complete data like the phase 3 trials, but I'm going to show y'all what we got, and you're going to like it.
It would have been surprising, a year ago, before I saw the original phase 1 data, but now, it makes perfect sense to me. So I feel good about it.
Yeah, the issue about, the younger cohort is always interesting to me as a pediatrician. I always think, we always say children, but we should really say prepubertal and postpubertal. The 16, 17-year-old is much more like a 25-year-old and much less like a 5-year-old. Let's just continue with some of the vaccine questions that have already come in, Tony. Obviously the reports out of the UK around allergy, that wasn't discussed very much in the document, or even yesterday. It has not shown up in the United States in the Pfizer trial. And I didn't know if you have any sense about that, because I'm concerned that it can be used as a way to alarm people so that they will not get vaccinated. Do you have any sense about that?
Yeah, as you know, there were 2 cases in the implementation of virus of the vaccine study. I think people need to realize, and this is in some respects a good lesson for people to understand, that safety considerations go well beyond the clinical trial. There's observation of potential adverse events, well into the implementation of the vaccine distribution. So if you look at the numbers of people in the clinical trial, there were 44,000 in the Pfizer trial. Once you push the button and start distributing vaccines, you're going to be giving it to millions of people. So there were two things that mitigated against knowing that maybe when people have a very strong diathesis towards allergic reactions, that you need to have a bit more precaution. You might want to make sure that those people get vaccinated in a facility that has the capability of quickly giving them some epinephrine or giving them whatever it requires to block an anaphylactic reaction. But the fact is, the clinical trial excluded people with severe allergic reactions. So there was no way in the clinical trial to know what the vaccine would do to people with that sort of diathesis.
Real quick, they have some breaking news on CNN of a respiratory therapist. She's a black lady at that. She actually died of the coronavirus. So she transitioned before she could even be vaccinated, and she was already ill from the virus. She lost her fight to the coronavirus. She fought as long as she could, and she transitioned. And this was a black lady who works in the hospital. But again, you know, I just wanted to give y'all that as it come across. You know what I'm saying? I'm on all things moving. If it's got the C word in it, I'm on it like that. If it's got the V word in it, I'm on like that. And the C word meaning coronavirus, the V word meaning vaccine.
Now that we got this heads up, what you do is what you do with everything in clinical medicine. You stay alert for it, and you keep a situation so that if it happens again, that people are in a facility that can take care of it. I don't think it should mitigate against people getting vaccinated, because we don't know the extent. Is it people who only have allergic diathesis that requires them to walk around with an EpiPen? Maybe. I mean, if somebody has a very mild allergic diathesis with, contact dermatitis, I don't think that's going to be a situation. I think it's going to be people who've had systemic reactions to allergic stimuli.
So, Tony, the EUA is likely to be approved over the weekend for the Pfizer product. Moderna's up next, and then there's a number of other vaccines coming, and we'll talk about them in a second. The number of doses that are available, both these vaccines require 2 doses, keeps changing. I think there's broad agreement that healthcare workers and nursing home individuals who reside in nursing homes and individuals who take care of those individuals will be first stop. That's 20, 25 million. But vaccine production is fragile, from supply to manufacturing to distribution. What do you think the numbers will look like in terms of the capacity to vaccinate based upon Pfizer and Moderna only? And we'll get to the other vaccines for the rest of this year, perhaps January and February. I think going beyond February gets a little fragile. Do you have a sense of what you think will be available for December, January, February?
Well, Howard, as you said, the numbers do seem to change a bit, not dramatically, but enough that whenever you hear 2 health officials give numbers, they're not always exactly the same numbers. But from the many meetings that I've been on, and I've been on almost all of them, we were talking about a total of about 100 million each from Pfizer and Moderna, where they would have 40 million between the both of them in December, and then again 50 million between the both of them in January, and then maybe 50 to 60 between the both of them in February, which should bring you up to about 100 each. What we hope is that that does occur and the supply chain continues. Number 2, we hope that by the time we get to February, March, we will start to see J&J or Janssen kick in, because they're well into their trial now. Hopefully they'll get similar types of results that Moderna and Pfizer did. So what I was hoping, that you'd have almost a transition of the Pfizer Moderna into December, January, February, early March, and then J&J coming in March, April, May, and then ultimately Novavax after that. And AstraZeneca, don't forget, they're in the mix too. So we have a lot of companies that are in the mix. I hope that there will be continuity of seeing the numbers of doses going up as opposed to up plateau and then coming back down and then going back up.
Right. I hope the websites that count all of the cases and hospitalizations and death begin to count the number of people who've been vaccinated. That'd be the nicest graph for me to look at if it keeps going up.
That's an inflection curve we'd like to see.
Tony, a lot of questions. About 500,000 patients are diagnosed with cancer each year. And quite a few patients are diagnosed with diseases that require immunosuppression or are on immunosuppressant drugs. Vaccinations for those individuals.
It's going to be very important to vaccinate them. What we don't know, since they were not in the clinical trial, as to what the level of protection is in those individuals. Historically, Howard, as you well know, if you have a person who's on chemotherapy for a cancer or for an autoimmune disease, the likelihood from experience that their level of response to any vaccine will not be as robust as someone who doesn't have an underlying condition. So I think we need to be prepared. That doesn't mean you don't want to vaccinate them. That means you have to vaccinate them. But you've got to be prepared that you're not going to have necessarily a 95% protection in those individuals, given the underlying conditions.
Tony, given the number of vaccines, and we know that they're going to go to healthcare workers first. Actually, one of my sons is working in a healthcare facility, and he was already told he could get vaccinated next week or the following week. When do people outside of healthcare workers and the elderly, when do you think they'll begin to have options around being vaccinated?
Yeah, end of March, beginning of April.
So again, I want to change the conversation a bit.
The end of March, the beginning of April. It's December, and we're going to have enough data for my brother Rob Bourne. We're going to have enough data to make an informed decision by really, our time to even say that it's available for us to even get vaccinated. But right now, I'm going to let the few questions get into it, and then we're going to get into this other news that I got for everybody. This is almost a wrap. We got like 5 or 6 more minutes of that question and answer.
I believe President-elect Biden will be the seventh president that you will advise. What's that been like, Tony?
Well, it's been a very interesting journey. I've been very privileged to have had the opportunity, because of the nature of the diseases that have emerged. They've been of national and global significance. That happens to be the discipline I'm in. I also happen to be in a position as director of this institute that we play a major role in the government's response. So I've had the opportunity that very few people have of actually working closely with 6 and soon to be 7 presidents. It's an interesting experience because you see differences of style, differences of interest in scientific and public health issues. But more important, Howard, that I say very often, and I will emphasize this when I get the time to sit down and write about it, that a presidency, when it comes to health and medical issues, is very often dictated by events and happenings outside of the power of the president, him or herself. In other words, Ronald Reagan had no idea that HIV would have an impact on his legacy, on his presidency. George H.W. Bush did, and that's why he was one of the first to try and say, we really need to do something about this. Clinton continued it. George W. Bush had no idea that in the first year of his presidency, we would have 9/11, followed by the anthrax attacks, which would trigger us to develop a major medical effort against bioterrorism, which really transformed into an effort against all emerging diseases. So our really core effort of how we respond in pandemic preparedness, That started off in George W. Bush's presidency. I mean, in my conversations with him early on, he never in his wildest dreams would have thought that that was going to be dominating in his presidency, nor would one have predicted, I did because I think he's an amazingly good human being, would have thought that George W. Bush would have developed the PEPFAR program, which in the history of all presidents probably has saved more lives than anything in the field of health that any president has done. And then President Obama, he comes in and you have Zika, Ebola, and pandemic flu. 1, 2, 3. So that's what I mean by an interesting journey. You know, I had written about my experience with 5 presidents, and when I got to Trump, I had a slide that said, "What next?" You know, in the lecture that I think you know, I says, "What's next? We don't know." I mean, who would have predicted that a pandemic of historic proportions like we haven't seen in 102 years would totally dominate the last year of a presidential administration? So the answer to your question is it's been really quite a journey going through these 6 and soon to be 7 presidents.
Tony, so that brings us to January, February, March. You'll have 2 co-leaders around the COVID-19 Biden administration response. Vivek Murthy has been appointed Surgeon General. Rochelle Walensky, who I've actually had on the show numerous times, has been appointed to lead the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. I think the 3 of you have been asked to lead the Biden response. How do you see that playing out come January 21st or 22nd on to February, March? I'm assuming the 3 of you are beginning to strategize about that.
Well, the actual leader, Howard, is Jeff Zients.
Correct.
Jeff is the one who is really the overall coordinator of the response. So my role as the chief medical advisor and Vivek's role as Surgeon General and Rochelle's role as CDC director will be coordinated under Jeff. And I think this is going to be a really good partnership because fortunately I've had the opportunity to work with as a colleague, Vivek, when he was the Surgeon General under Obama. So we've worked together a lot already. We know each other well. Rochelle is a very close colleague and friend who we've had the opportunity of collaborating with from the standpoint of policy with NIAID. She's called upon very often in advisory committees. So I'm looking forward to this. This I think could turn out to be, you know, an important partnership, but also a very productive partnership.
Tony, last question. There are many more, but I feel like I know you have other things to do. You know, I was listening to a few physicians being interviewed, and you know, they were talking about their own family members or their own vaccine hesitancy, and they said, "Well, I want to hear what Dr. Fauci will say. Will he be vaccinated? Will he recommend the vaccine for himself? Would he be vaccinated? And would he recommend the vaccine, the immunization for himself, his wife, his children?" And I asked you before we came on if you minded that personal question, and you indicated you would be comfortable with it. Could you respond to the medical community and the public at large about how you yourself will consider the vaccine?
Yeah. Well, I'd be happy to do that, Howard. Having looked at the process by where this vaccine and how this vaccine was tested, the evaluation of the data by the Data and Safety Monitoring Board, the intense scrutiny given to the data by both the career FDA scientists and the VRBPAC Advisory Committee, and knowing what I know personally, having gone over the data, definitely I will get vaccinated. And I will get vaccinated publicly in order to show that, in fact, I am willing to get vaccinated. And I would recommend it to my wife and my 3 daughters that they get vaccinated when their time comes.
Thank you. I don't think there could be a stronger endorsement by a single individual in this country than hearing you be so clear in stating that. Tony, I always try to finish with something personal. It's your birthday in a few weeks. I will not reveal your age. People are welcome to look it up themselves. It's in the public domain.
All right, so I'm going to stop right there on Fauci. You heard in his own words that he will definitely.
Yeah, we don't care about his birthday. We just want to know the information.
Yeah, definitely get the vaccine. So,
I ain't gonna lie, Shawn, man. I'm one of them guys, man. I'm gonna need a little bit of time before I go shooting that vaccine off in me, man. I'm just gonna put it on out there.
Nah, it's all good, bro. All we doing is collecting data, and the more data we got, the better, the more informed decision that we'll make when it's our time. Right now, it ain't gonna be our time. We ain't nowhere near being our time to even consider it right now.
The common man. We ain't gonna get it for a while, huh?
Yeah, we're looking May, June, July. Shoot, it might even be December of next year.
That's cool. That means I'll stay working from home till then.
Right. Right. So next we're going to talk about how effective are antibody treatments for COVID-19. We're going to listen in on an actual source. Like I said, all my sources are in the description. It's a little short podcast, and I feel like people can grasp this a little bit quicker than me just sitting here talking over words and trying to disseminate certain things. So anyone with questions and things of that nature, we actually can deal with it. But hopefully, Fauci is very transparent in what he said in his bill just a second ago.
Support for NPR and the following message come from our sponsor, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. Hit the play button to learn about the important role MEDC plays in forming partnerships and supporting businesses across the state, particularly in this last year.
Hi, consider this, listeners. Mary Louise Kelly here. It is Sunday, which means we've got a bonus episode for you. It comes from our colleagues at NPR's daily science podcast, Shortwave. With a coronavirus vaccine still months away for most Americans, they took a look at a new therapy that could help some people who get sick with COVID-19. There's a link in our episode notes where you can subscribe to or follow Shortwave on Apple Podcasts or Spotify to hear about the new discoveries and everyday mysteries and the science behind the headlines. Here is Shortwave host Maddie Sophia. Maddie Sophia here with science correspondent Richard Harris. Hi, Richard.
Hey, Maddie.
So COVID vaccines have been getting a ton of attention lately, but you're here to talk to us about a treatment for COVID that was recently authorized.
That's right, last month.
Another critical breakthrough in the fight against the coronavirus. The FDA cleared Regeneron's antibody treatment for emergency use, giving patients.
FDA has authorized emergency use of the first antibody drug to help the immune system fight COVID-19. The drug from Eli Lilly is cleared for people.
So we've got two now, one from the drug company Regeneron and one from the drug company Eli Lilly.
Both Regeneron and Eli Lilly are currently testing the treatments on humans in clinical trials.
They both use something called monoclonal antibodies.
In other words, antibodies that specifically target and neutralize the coronavirus.
Yes, and it's important to note that this drug was approved by the FDA under what's called emergency use authorization, which means there's no real formal seal of approval that the treatment is truly effective, just that its potential benefits are likely to outweigh the potential risks.
Right, and this is just one of multiple potential treatments we have for this virus at this point.
That's right. And more importantly, it's a treatment option that could be in short supply, considering how rapidly the coronavirus pandemic is escalating. The federal government purchased more than 1 million doses of the drugs to distribute across the U.S., and of that, around 150,000 have been delivered. And there are some other important caveats when it comes to this new treatment, from how it's administered to the potential cost for patients.
So today on the show, monoclonal antibodies. We'll talk about how they work and if they'll really make a difference. I'm Maddie Sophia, and this is Shortwave from NPR. Okay, Richard, we are talking about a treatment for COVID that people may have heard about, monoclonal antibodies. Before we get into how they work, who is this treatment meant for?
The treatment is specifically for people who have recently been diagnosed with COVID-19 and they have mild to moderate symptoms. If you're sick enough to be in the hospital, these drugs won't help.
Okay.
Yeah, and the idea behind this treatment is to keep people out of the hospital, and the people most likely to benefit are those at highest risk for getting sick. And that includes older patients and people with underlying conditions like obesity, diabetes, immune disorders, and the like.
Okay, Richard, let's get into what this treatment actually is and
Trying to kick this damn self off his own show. Shawn, you done kicked yourself off your show and turned it into me.
Yeah, I did. That was my bad. I had paused it. I was trying to answer Vasa, and I was letting them know it's not a video, it's an actual podcast. And we listen to
a podcast, Vasa. You tripping?
Yeah, we're listening to a podcast right now. You talking about video?
I was about to say, where a video playing from? We listening to music.
Yeah, we listen. It's good for our ears. But they gonna get it. It's not gonna be long either. It's only gonna be a couple minutes, and then we're gonna get into this new stuff.
Yes, and by and large, this works the same way. The antibodies are engineered to target the virus that causes COVID. They're brewed up in a lab and bottled up and shipped off to hospitals. Here's the idea. The antibodies are engineered to recognize and latch onto one particular part of the coronavirus. It happens to be the virus's sweet spot.
And this spot is where the virus would bind to our cells in order to invade them.
Right.
But if a virus is greeted by these antibodies, instead, it's out of luck, right? It prevents them from latching on to our cells.
Exactly. It's the same general idea for a vaccine.
Right.
But in this case, the drug is for people who already have circulating virus in their bodies. The hope here is, of course, to stop the virus from replicating like crazy and causing a lot more damage.
And Richard, this idea of using engineered antibodies as medicine isn't new.
That's right. There are about 100 drugs based on monoclonal antibodies, including treatments for cancer and arthritis, to mention just a few. These target tumor cells or naturally produced proteins that are causing trouble. It is a bit unusual to have a monoclonal antibody that is targeting a virus, and that's the idea here. And because it must be given in high doses, it has to be given as an IV infusion.
An IV infusion. So this is not just taking a pill or an injection.
No, and that's one of the complications here, because it takes about an hour to administer the drug, say in the hospital, and then patients have to be watched for at least an hour in case there are side effects.
And so it takes like a good bit of time to actually do the treatment. And from the hospital side of things, administering this treatment has got to be a huge challenge because hospitals are already under a lot of stress around the country.
You are a master of understatement, Maddie.
Thank you, sir, I guess.
Yes. Here's the other part of it. The drug is being distributed according to where the coronavirus is running rampant.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes sense because that's where the most people are sick.
Sure.
But, those areas are exactly where hospital emergency rooms and wards are already being overrun.
Right.
So doctors and nurses already stretched really thin in some places have another thing that's on their plate. They may not have the staff and they may not have the space to do this other really time-consuming task.
Richard, I have to imagine another concern for hospitals is bringing in people for treatment who are infectious, right? I mean, the ultimate goal here is to keep them out of the hospital.
Yeah, there is some irony there. Go to the hospital to take a drug that's designed to keep you out of the hospital.
Right.
But a 2-hour visit sure beats having to check into a hospital and possibly ending up in intensive care.
Sure.
And yes, this drug is for people who are currently experiencing mild to moderate symptoms, which means they are at risk of infecting others. Certainly hospitals want to make sure that they aren't spreading the virus to other people while they're helping these people.
So how do they do that? I mean, how are hospitals managing that?
Well, some have set up separate infusion centers dedicated for this purpose. I talked to Dr. Princey Kumar with the MedStar hospitals in Washington, D.C. about how they're managing to do this in the hospital while minimizing the risk to other patients.
When a patient arrives, we will actually escort the patient up to the dedicated infusion center. And once the infusion is done, we will actually re-escort the patient back so the patient doesn't wander accidentally around the hospital. So even simple logistics like that needed to be worked out.
And in my reporting, I also talked to an official at a hospital in Madison, Wisconsin, who told me they opened its infusion center up after hours, so COVID patients don't cross paths with cancer patients.
Oh.
And elsewhere, in Santa Fe, the hospital has a separate section of the emergency room set aside for COVID patients. And that's where they're doing the infusions, in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe some of this can be addressed by having the drug administered by home infusion services. United Health Group is experimenting with that option for some of its older patients.
So, Richard, just hearing all of this, the cost for just administering this antibody treatment, setting aside manufacturing costs, cannot be cheap.
That's right. And, you and I, the American taxpayers, have already purchased more than 1 million doses of these drugs, which cost more than $1,200 per patient.
Wow.
So, yes, for us, the drug itself is free, or for the recipient, the drug itself is free. But administering it also costs real money, hundreds or even over $1,000 per treatment. And as best I can tell, insurance companies and the like are still sorting out exactly who's going to end up paying for those services.
Okay.
And if you're a Medicare patient, you could end up with a $60 copay depending upon your plan.
Okay, got it. Richard, like we mentioned earlier, 2 of these monoclonal antibody treatments were approved last month by the FDA, but under emergency use authorization. So, what do we really know about their effectiveness?
Well, if you want to hear a ringing endorsement,
Mm-hmm.
don't turn to the experts assembled by the National Institutes of Health who evaluate COVID treatments. Their take is that at this time, there are insufficient data to recommend either for or against the use of either the Eli Lilly or the Regeneron drugs.
Wow.
And by the way, the Regeneron treatment is what President Trump took, and it did not keep him out of the hospital, you may recall.
Yeah. Huh. Okay, so what's going on with this drug, Richard? Like, throw some data at me.
Well, according to the company's data, the vast majority of people fight back the virus all on their own without much, if any, help from the drug. But for a fraction, these drugs do seem to help someone clear the virus from their system a bit faster. That said, it's not clear what that means in terms of the course of their disease. And, since it's impossible to know who exactly will benefit, you really have to give this drug to like 10 or 20 people to avoid one hospitalization, according to the studies that these companies ran.
Wow. So you really have to give it to a lot of people to just avoid a few hospitalizations.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that leads me to ask the question, are these treatments actually worth it, Richard?
Well, that's somewhat an open question still, but the people most likely to benefit are those at highest risk of ending up in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, that's older people and those with serious underlying conditions ranging from obesity and diabetes to immune disorders. And they only seem to be effective if someone is early on in their infection. Regeneron gave it to some people after they developed their own antibodies and found that the drug actually wasn't valuable for them.
I don't see it as a game changer because it's so, to try to find the right patient who's early enough in their disease course and their tests has come back quickly and they're at high risk of a complication, and then you can get them into the clinic. It's a nice arrow to have for the right patient. But you're talking about, a handful of patients getting it. It's not going to be the, thousands or hundreds of thousands that we need to really change the game.
And that's Bob Wachter, who's the chair of medicine at the University of California, San Francisco. He says what is a game changer, of course, is vaccines.
Monoclonal antibodies are nice to have and will prevent some severe cases in patients who otherwise might have been destined to get very sick. But those patients are probably going to be pretty early online for vaccines. So my hope is once we can get them vaccinated, the need for monoclonal antibodies will go down.
Is that kind of where we're at, Richard? We have, some okay treatments for COVID, but really we're just banking on prevention strategies like mask wearing while kind of holding our breath until the vaccines come along?
Right, but of course, Maddie, that's still many months away at best.
Sure,
now, back in the early days, long ago, like March, people hoped there would be highly effective drugs invented expressly to treat COVID-19. And unfortunately, we are still very far from that ideal. But that said, it is remarkable to see how much overall medical treatment has improved using old standby drugs like steroids that control inflammation and other drugs that can prevent deadly blood clots.
Right.
Simple steps like getting people to lie on their stomach in the hospital also helps a lot. And these are not the kinds of innovations that send drug company stocks soaring, but they really are helping a lot of patients. And as Bob Wachter says, if the vaccines coming down the pike are as good as they appear to be at this moment, those will prevent disease in people so they won't need monoclonal antibodies or other treatments like that.
So they knocked down that right there. All right. I thought Brother Rob Bourne was going to join. You know, he ready to get it cooking. Mr. Controversial. So Moderna has started sending out its information regarding the mRNA 1273 vaccine. And we shall be receiving the results. What we will look at is the standard consent form and authorization, as it has questionnaires on it. So we're at this point, primary efficacy endpoint in the first interim analysis of phase 3 COVID study with vaccine efficacy. Rob Bourne should be on the panel now. His name is Hy. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a minute. We're gonna bring on Hy.
What the hell is wrong with this shit, yo?
Hey man, StreamYard don't act like Zoom, yo. You there, but you ain't there, Rock. We heard you, then we don't hear you.
Crazy, bro. Let me come back.
The Most High messing with Rob on phone, yo. Yep. But what y'all think about that last video? Podcast.
Yeah, it was cool, man. I just like I said, I'm on the fence because I know a lot of people say, technology, this and that, but I think I was reading something to where it said the fastest vaccine was ever created took like 5 years, and it was for Ebola.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be the fastest they ever created one. And
yeah, but the Ebola vaccine was a conventional vaccine, meaning that they had to have a dead strain. This one doesn't have a dead strain in it at all. No form of the virus is in the mRNA. So that does that. What up, Rock?
What's up?
What's up? I can hear you good.
Let's talk about them black people, man. Them 3,000 lonely black people. Let's talk about them. How they do with the trials.
Man, they doing good, yo.
Yep.
They doing well, yo.
So I'm gonna ask you this, right?
Mm-hmm.
You do know that we are genetically different from Europeans, right?
How different are we?
Huh?
How different are we?
How you could deal with your 0.1, and those you could deal with them mutations would be in the billions, or different things that make us up. So yeah, there's billions of nucleotides that make us different. But you do know that, right?
Yeah, there's a small percentage or reason why we're different than them. That skin gene, right?
Who? No, that's one thing.
Yeah.
So like I say that to say this. Do you know, like, let's use the concept you just used, right? So they say that all 99% of all humans share the same genomes. Therefore, if you do a test on a virus that enters the human body, you should get the same result, right? However, do you know that the treatment of hypertension in black people, there is a drug that only works for African people? So white people who have blood pressure problems, Chinese people, all these other people, this drug does not work for them. The name of the drug is called BIDI. You can look it up. It's hypertension. It only works with black people. And guess what? They don't know why. They can't answer the question. They give you little, the salt and the this, that. They don't even know. So that right there, for me, because I know this, because I work with people with this stuff, and I know the medications they take, because I have to know if you take beta blockers and that before I work out with you. I know these things. So with that being said, when you're dealing with this virus here, yes, we have 99% of the same genome, but if you put that in, it might affect us differently because we're different, man. Sorry, I'm shaky dog. I'm shaky dogs, yo. And you up here advocating. They use the black woman for the test dummies. This guy here, Fauci, and all them dudes who's promoting this, those are supposed to be would send the more powerful message if they got their ass shot up. I don't want to hear about what they think. What do you mean he shot up Friday? He not on the thing.
He getting
What you talking about?
He getting shot up Friday.
That's what he said. I'm not gonna believe it until I see it.
Okay. Well, it's Tuesday.
I'm not gonna believe it until I see it.
Okay.
You believe everything they say, not me.
I don't believe everything they say.
I'm not saying, man. We different, bro.
All right. So here's the response to your whole little nice little soliloquy about hypertension, high blood pressure.
I just want to know, is that apple good, Rob?
They tearing it up.
Yeah, that shit good. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah.
The reason why the vaccine is cool, this vaccine is about creating an immune response. This ain't about hypertension. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference here with the medication versus the vaccination. This medication treats something that is prevalent in us that ain't prevalent in other people. Now, that's rare, you know, because I don't have hypertension issues. You don't have hypertension issues, but you know, it is common in Black people because we eat a lot of salty food, fast foods, things that are around the corner, and things of that nature. However, we're talking about an mRNA vaccine. This mRNA vaccine is coded, right, to enter you and have your body build its own immune response to a novel virus that it has never encountered. So it allows our immune system to create its own response to fend off the proteins that are coming with this, the spike proteins that are coming with this this virus. So it's different, you know, like these people taking these medications when they should be drinking a whole bunch of water and walking and working out with you.
No. Some of this stuff is genetic. This is what you're not understanding. Some of these people are genetically disposed to this. Yes, there's a lot of people who acquire it, but some of them are genetically disposed to it for multiple different reasons. My point is this: the human body, 99.9% is correct. Why doesn't that medication work the same with white people, red people, green people, and any people, and it only works for Black people? But we all say the same genome with the same condition that can cause liver problems, kidney problems, neuromuscular problems, which also COVID does. It attacks the brain as well. So I'm at a loss here.
I just told you.
No, you did. That's your supposing. The supposing is.
I told you you're comparing a medication with an immune response with something that causes an immune response.
So when you take a beta blocker, and it makes your blood pressure leveled, are you saying that doesn't have anything to do with immune function? Is that what you're saying here? Are you saying blood pressure medication doesn't have anything to do with your immune system? Is that what you're saying, my brother?
No, what I am saying is what you're talking about is a virus, a pathogen. What you're describing, is it a pathogen?
That's fine. What I'm telling you is this: it also, the blood pressure medication does deal with immune responses. This is what it does with. I'm telling you this. If 99% of all humans share the same genome, and we have the medication that is treating the same organs that are in our body that are the same, why does it work only for Black people and not white people? We are different, bro. And that's not the only drug. I can keep going. You're lucky you on StreamYard and on my phone, and I can't share my screen because I would go in through all these medications on you, bro.
Rob, I don't care nothing about medications. We are talking about a deadly pathogen that is killing people. We ain't talking. Look, how many of us walking down the street?
Yo, hold on.
Hold on, Rob.
Hold
on. How many of us are walking down the street in the air? You know, hypertension is airborne, and we just get it from sniffing and all of that, or touching something, or bumping people, or if they cough or something, we get hypertension. That's not the case with hypertension. It functions totally different than what we do. So
understandable. Now, what I want you to do, Shawn, since you're on your computer, I want you to pull up the #1 leading cause of death in America, and I want you to put hypertension in there. Go ahead, do that and show the people.
Why got hypertension in there? Shouldn't I just put the #1 leading cause of death?
Put it in there. What's the #1, 2, 3? Put it in there. Where's hypertension on the list? Where is it, Shawn?
Heart disease is 1. Stroke is 2nd. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease is 3rd. Low respiratory infection is 4. Neonatal conditions is 5. Treachery bronchitis. Hold on, let me put it on the screen so nobody.
Yeah, just put hypertension in there. Where's hypertension at?
I got the top 10 as they rank.
Yes, because hypertension deals with it's a cardiovascular disease as well. So you have to put hypertension in there. Put hypertension in there and put what's the percentage of people that die? Hypertension. Come on, put it in there. Yeah. Let's get busy now. You lucky I can't show my screen, son.
The World Health Report that's 2002. I ain't gonna use it.
Oh yeah, now you don't want to use it.
2000.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I want to be more modern with my.
I
want to be more update.
Now, what does it say on the top of the screen?
Disease remains.
Read the top of that screen, bro. Who reveals leading causes of death and disability worldwide?
Yeah. Non-communicable diseases now make up 7 of the world's top 10, according to WHO's 2019 health estimates published today. There's an increase of 4 out of 10 leading causes in 2000. New data covered the period from 2000 to 2019 inclusive, and it gives us the rundown here. Of course,
heart
disease remains the leading cause of death global level for the last 20 years. It is now killing more people than ever before. The number of deaths from heart disease increased by more than 2 million since 2000 to nearly 9 million in 2019. Heart disease now represents 16% of total deaths from all causes. More than half of the 2 million additional deaths were of the WHO Western Pacific region. Conversely, the European region has seen a relative decline in heart disease, with deaths falling by 15%. Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia is a cause of death.
Okay, stop right there. What is hypertension? Is that a heart disease or not?
You done?
I'm asking you a question. What is hypertension?
You're
a scientist, right?
It's related to heart disease.
Yeah, it's dealing with your blood pressure. Anything that deals with your blood pressure does what, Shawn?
Deals with your heart.
Okay, so with that being said, and you see what is one of the leading causes of death around the goddamn world, and we all share the same genome, and this medication only works for Black people, I have an issue with this. I have a problem. I don't care if you're saying it's a viral thing or whatever. We are different.
Vaccine
all right, bro.
Argument is against something totally different.
No, I'm not. It's the same thing. It's the same argument, bro.
Okay,
like, what are you talking about?
Hear me out right here. Okay, so are you aware of the effects of COVID-19 related to your heart?
To your heart? No, not really. No.
So it attacks your heart just as well as hypertension does. And it messes with your heart. Not only does it attack your heart, it attacks every part of your body. So it has more of an implication on you. The long-term effects are still not known. You know, the brother from Florida who passed out, he had COVID-19 over the summer. They are linking what is it called? I forget the name. Mitosol, or I forget the name of it. I can't think of it right now, but I can look it up, which links to what you're trying to say. This thing also causes issues with your heart. While it's attacking your lungs, while it's attacking your liver and your other extremities, and especially in your blood.
So and it caused blood clotting. Yeah, they said that.
Right. So here we go again. We're talking about a virus versus what we really.
My bad. You just made my point. Do you realize what you just did?
I'm not making your point, Rob.
Yo, you talking about a virus that causes a disease, that causes an issue with the circulatory system, that causes blood clots and all this other stuff. Come on, son.
It attacks everything.
Come on, son.
But what I'm trying to tell you is this is a virus. This ain't.
All right.
All right. So
that's fine. You can keep on running with it. I'm just putting that out there.
Listen.
And there's an actual fact what I told you.
All right.
You don't have an answer for it. And the doctors don't have an answer for it. And you can't answer. Don't try to answer something that the doctor can't answer.
Yo, I'm not the nurse, yo. Look, hypertension is linked with strokes as well. Hypertension, look, Mel telling you right there, he deal with this all the time. Hypertension leads to kidney failure, and it's almost.
I said that earlier.
Hypertension is linked with strokes as well.
It's called BIDI. That's the medication. BIDI for those in the chat asking.
Heart disease is 8 different. Who in here? Somebody up on here.
BIDI. Don't worry, man. You gonna be all right, man. You gonna be all right. You gonna stop.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
You gonna be all right, man. You gonna stop pushing that goddamn medicine. You don't got a problem. Yo, you don't really have a problem with those 2 black women getting shot up with that shit, bro, son?
None. Zero.
Wow, son. That's crazy, bro. I don't understand you, man.
How many of us on the panel got hypertension issues?
I don't understand you. Me. I got it.
I do.
Prove it, Ra.
What? Prove it? Come on, son. I ain't gonna go on my records and all that. Well, I got it.
Yeah. Give us your records. Show us.
I got it.
Highlight it. I know you got it.
When I go in the gym, I can take my blood pressure and you can see it. I can do that. Mm-hmm.
My point, Ra, are you really suffering from hypertension?
Yeah, I have it. Do you want me to go? I can take my blood pressure in the gym now and show it to you.
What's your blood pressure right now?
It ain't right.
It ain't right.
I'm stage. I'm you know, it's 3 stages of hypertension. I'm in the, you know.
You in the mild, you in the low stages.
Nigga, listen, man, that shit ain't right.
He got mild hypertension.
He got mild hypertension. I'm with you. Okay, I got you. You do a little yoga to calm it down.
Nah, I don't do no yoga. I don't do none of that. I tried that. It's good. Yoga is good though. I don't have a problem with that. Meditation is great.
Sage, man.
Yeah, right, brother. Sage.
But yo, y'all don't have no problem. I'm gonna ask who else is on the panel with you because I can't see it. Who else is here?
Sutek and Satepa Ra.
So Satepa Ra and Sutek. Peace to the people. I have a question for you. You don't see an issue with those 2 black women being the first ones to get shot up with the drug?
Nah, I ain't got one. If they dumb enough to be the first ones to do it, that's on them.
No, you gotta qualify that. What you mean if they dumb enough? What you mean by that, brother?
All right, listen.
Say what you mean.
Yeah. How you gonna call them dumb, yo? They groundbreaking.
All right, hey, listen, man. The shoe fit, wear it, man. Y'all know what I'm saying.
You calling Bonnie Blue dumb, yo? The 68-year-old black lady who was a part of the phase 3 trials with Pfizer.
And I thought it was a old white lady that.
Nah, that was in UK.
The first one in UK. It was the first one in UK.
But, so I got some Supervisor on my side. He on my side.
So is this vaccine
yo,
UK? Is this the same one coming over here?
Yo, ask the chat what they think about it, because they tune into y'all. They tune into the science. Ask them, do they feel?
Okay, hold on, Rod. Hold on. I'll let you go. So hold on, real quick. You said Satepa Ra's with you, right? So if not a vaccine, then what?
Hey, what did they tell you? They said, I'm asking. I'm gonna answer your question. Yeah. They said it themselves. They said, well, it seems that people who don't have these other conditions they heal themselves. Their immune system heals it. That's what they said.
I want you to read what Malcolm is saying to you right now.
Oh, Malcolm, meds affect receptors and enzymes. A vaccine is cellular. He sound like Ali Muhammad. I'm not Ali Muhammad. I'm just telling you the truth, bro.
Hey, he's in the field, yo. He's actually a frontliner. He's in the field, so he knows exactly what he's saying, Rob.
That's fine, and I work with people that have it too. What you saying? You ain't saying nothing to me. I mean, like, what are you saying?
He's working with people, yo, but he's actually doing all the administration work.
That's fine. He can do whatever he wants. Tell him hit the link and explain that BIDI medication and why it only work with African Americans and not Europeans. Since you're so smart, let him come up here and prove it.
I'm busy. I'm sure he'll jump. He got the link.
let him jump on. Show and prove why the BIDI medication only work in Africans and not Europeans.
You're doing it again. He's saying exactly what I just said.
I don't care what he said, bro. I don't care.
They're not.
Listen, man. Whatever, bro. Whatever, son. If a white person has the same,
you dismissing the science, yo.
I don't care what he's saying, bro. I'm telling you science.
I'm not talking about what he's saying.
Fam, I'm gonna ask you this question again. Do humans have 99.9% the same genome? Yes or no? Yes or no, bro? Is that science? Yeah, there's type 1, 2, and 3. There's different types. There's different categories. Depending if you're over 120, you could be 140, and if you're over 170, you're critical, nigga. That's it for you. You're a rat. You start getting dizzy and all that type of weird shit.
What's that?
I know.
Hypertension?
Yeah, I know what that shit is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know if I think I got maybe one.
Yo, who in the chat put a number 1 if you feel that those black women are heroes and not test dummies?
They're heroes.
I'm not. That's your opinion.
They
I want to
already
see
had
what the
test
black
dummies.
people saying.
They already had a phase 3 trial. 30,000 people done took it. Oh, he's talking about first. How they the first people? How they the first people and they got a whole study already, bro? That's crazy.
What you talking about? No.
They actually got 40.
Those are people. Number 1, those are people that's in the testing. They tell you that they don't even know how it really responds in the real world. Come on, cut that out.
30,000 people. 15,000 gonna not get they gonna get a placebo, and the other 15 gonna get the vaccine.
Yeah,
people already got it, bro.
Listen, man.
We sound crazy right now.
I already read that article on there talking about the effectiveness. No, I already did that the other night, so you late. I can't show my screen now, so you lucky. Because I would shut that down real fast. I can't do it now.
I know.
But listen,
hold on.
I'm saying
we got to give it facts, yo.
So this is what I'm saying.
3,000 black people, listen.
Yeah, 3,000 black people. I know you're
3,000
you reading, bro.
The
Yeah, and they tell you that people don't want to take it.
The equal amount of black, the equal amount of black people that had the placebo had the damn vaccine. Can we agree to that? Yes or no?
That's what they said. That's fine.
I
asked a question for the chat, bro. I want to hear what the black people say it in the chat. Do you think that those 2 black women who stepped up, the first ones outside of a trial to take the goddamn test, were they test dummies or not? You don't have a problem with that.
I mean, yes.
I think they stepped up. I'm giving my opinion right now. I think they stepped up. I'm gonna do me a trial. I got mine I'm waiting on the call right now. I'm waiting on the boys to get back to me because I'm gonna do the pre-screen for the
So nobody in the chat.
I'm trying to be like them.
What kind of audience you have here? What kind of? That's what I'm talking about. The first person to get the shot should have been Dr. Fauci, yo.
Hold on, Rob. So listen, the difference between a vaccine and medication. A vaccine is a prevention against any bacteria or virus. It can act like an agent to protect your body from becoming sick. It can also weaken antibody production. How do you get a vaccine? You get a vaccine by local places giving them out. You can ask your doctor about that. Does it hurt? They get into that. Okay. A vaccine works by when the medication is put inside of you from the injection. Then the medication acts like a shield against the bacteria or the virus to keep you healthy. All right, we ain't got to get into the vaccine and all the other stuff. But what we have to do is what you're saying is a prescription drug. You're comparing a prescription drug to a vaccine. They have 2 separate ways of life. That's what I'm saying. We can't confuse the people over.
Yo, I'm not confusing anybody. If I give medication to a fucking ape, no, serious, bro. If I give medication to an ape, yo, listen, bro. If I give medication to an ape to deal with a specific heart condition because he has a heart, he has a circulatory system, it ain't gonna work. Why is it not gonna work? Because it's not compatible with us, bro. If humans are 99% one the same, son, it's crazy, bro.
What's not? You saying a vaccine is not compatible to us?
Yo, I didn't say a vaccine is not compatible to us. You're making up stuff. I said about
no hypertension medicine.
Yo, whatever, man. You can believe that. You pushing this crazy shit, bro.
Vaccine.
You pushing this crazy shit, bro. You pushing some nut shit, bro.
Let me push it.
Y'all niggas is crazy,
What we supposed
son.
to push, bro?
Y'all
What's
niggas
the
is
solution?
crazy, bro.
What's
You
the solution,
niggas
bro?
better, you niggas get off the computer, and work out. How about that? And eat right.
That's it. That's
How
gonna stop
about
you from
that?
getting
Yeah, and wear your mask. Wear your
Westbrook and
mask and
everybody
shit.
that caught the virus in the NFL and the NBA, they work out every day, right?
Yeah, they got it, but they fine. They moving
So how
around.
they
They
catch this
chilling. They
virus?
good. Yeah, they caught it from being around people who got it. That's
Nah,
why they okay.
the top athletes are getting sick, yo. What's your solution?
No. If they catch it, they catch it. Are they on the ventilator?
As much as you do, Rob.
Are they on the ventilator?
Yo.
No,
Are
but
they on the ventilator?
who they passed it to, that gave it to, that got on the ventilator though.
Okay, who did Kevin
It's
Durant
different
and them
than
niggas? Who did they pass it
selfish
to?
ideology, bro. We so focused on ourselves, bro. We're
Who
not
did
thinking about people that are susceptible.
who did the people that got it pass it to? You said these NBA players, they give it to people who die. Who did they give it to in their family that died?
They gave it to somebody. I'm saying.
No.
You speculating,
They're
bro.
passing it around.
Let me
speculating, bro.
What's old boy? What's
So they didn't pass it around. I'm speculating that
Hold on, Chavis. Hold on, Chavis. Let me give it to you. Townsend from Minnesota lost 7 people in his family, yo, from coronavirus. 7.
Who's Townsend? Who's that?
You don't know who Townsend is?
Who the fuck is that? Who's Townsend?
Oh, he played for man, not the Timberwolves, huh? They ain't play for Timberwolves.
Yes, he did.
He played for Minnesota. He played for Minnesota T-Wolves. His mama died. Like, I don't know. That's crazy to me, man.
Yeah.
I don't like playing, but that shit ain't no game, man. People be playing. I will wait. Viruses don't. They gonna wait on you. They ain't going nowhere. You can wait as long as you want to. As long as you don't got no immunity, that boy gonna wait right with you.
It's called the survival of fittest, my nigga. Whoever died, son. That's what's happening, bro.
This dude right
grandma and them too?
You see this?
Grandma dead already.
You see this? You see this?
My bad. Mine not. My big mama, they're not gone, so I can't. I be around them a lot. I can't play like that.
Yeah,
I got people with sickle
that
cell. I can't play like that.
I stay away from my moms. I don't go over there. I don't go to it. I don't go around.
That's responsible of you, bro.
So that's being
doing
real.
that. I don't got I can't say nothing about that.
I wash my hands and all that. I'm not stupid.
That's real.
Well, let me go to my mom and let me just breathe on her, but let me touch her. No, that's dumb, son.
You could get the vaccine. You could go. You know what I'm saying? Y'all both get the vaccine.
Yo, they
everything
just told
go back
you.
to
They
regular.
just told you. Sean
except for wearing the mask. Yeah, you're gonna be able to carry the virus. You're not gonna get severe disease.
Sean just played the video.
I seen Sean. I was watching Sean show every day, bro. He already expressed this already. You can carry the virus.
Yo, y'all can't hear me?
Right? That's where we going. He's talking about you can get the vaccine and you can still carry the virus. This is facts. The thing is, you can get the vaccine and stop the death and severe illness. Because where are the people that died that got the vaccine? People are paying attention to that or not. But where are the people that died from COVID that got the vaccine? How many people is that? Let's do the math. Because I ain't seen none.
What's going on, good people?
What up?
Brother Malcolm in the house.
Go in, fam. Go in.
How y'all doing, man? I'm sitting here at the workhouse in the field, waiting on a unfortunate call, which will probably come across the radio in a minute. COVID deaths happening every day. In Memphis, they had 9 new deaths, 860 plus new positive cases recorded anyway, according to our Shelby County Health Department. But I was listening to Brother Rob Bourne, well-respected brother.
Yeah, my shit is breaking up, bro. So I gotta wait for a minute. It's gonna finish, but gotta keep talking because it's gonna do this because my thing is not compatible with this. But keep going. It'll open up.
And you I think Brother Rob Bourne made mention of biological differences in African Americans and whites. It's a fine line between the two. Of course, we can look at each other and make the determination, but I don't think that right now there's sufficient enough evidence to boast the claim. And at this point, it's dangerous because it could lead to the same social sciences and science practices that it led to in the early 1800s, where and even the 1980s, where they were saying that there were biological differences that made blacks more violent, blacks and Latinos more violent than white. So it's a line we have to be careful when we tread, and we have to have empirical evidence when we make them claims. But to the point, the medicine he was talking about, by deal. Now we know that hypertension does affect African Americans even more, and there are tons of reasons, social reasons that have been given as to why. You know, stressful situations, dietary practices, access to medical care. Even the number. I mean, hell, the fact that we are one of the largest groups who are pretty anti-medicine. We don't really go to the hospital normally. We ain't going to get those physicals like our wives or our European and Asian counterparts. You know what I'm saying? We but yes, hypertension plays the African American community, but hypertension is caused by multiple factors. We don't exercise as much as we should. We engage in smoking and drinking and things of that nature. But hypertension not only affects the heart. Yes, if those vessels are there's a lot of pressure in those vessels, it will cause the heart to swell up, or what they call hypertrophy. But you also blow out nephrons in your kidneys. And if you notice that a lot of hypertensive patients become what? They become dialyzed. If they're
Yep.
not on their
That
medications or
dialysis is
taking their
crazy,
medication,
bro. That happened to my
that
grandmother, yo.
dialysis,
That's how she passed away, yo.
that shit is, I can't do it.
Yo, I
I
seen
can't
that
do it.
stuff they
But
put in her arm, bro. And I seen that thing, those two things that they put in your arm with that dialysis, whatever that metal thing is they put up
the
in there.
fistula,
Yeah, that was
they hook it
crazy,
up to the
bro.
fistula,
That was
and
crazy,
they
bro.
filter the blood out. Yeah,
That was crazy, bro.
they
That's
they
crazy,
give.
bro. And it's all because of
2 times a week.
lifestyle, foods. But I was
Yes.
just pointing out the fact that that medication BIDI, this conversation came about like, yo, how you guys are doing tests and you saying that this medication only work for African Americans and it don't work on Europeans and nobody else who have the same disease. Because once you have
Yeah. I mean,
hypertension, now that's a disease. And it could become neurological, it could change a bunch of different things. You know?
yeah. So again, the hypertension affects the kidneys, but it does, and it affects the heart, which is the cardiovascular system, all in all. But it also affects the brain. Hypertension is closely linked with strokes. And it's two types of strokes. You can have what they call a hemorrhagic stroke, that's a brain bleed, or you can have why am I having a brain freeze? An ischemic stroke. And this is a blockage pretty much in the brain.
Or the oxygen.
And so,
From oxygen.
yeah, reduce blood flow will cause. Hold on a second. 202, Robert. This Lieutenant Robert. How you doing? Give me a second now.
Well, hello, Ryan, what's going on, brother?
Yeah. So it just go back to the point. I mean, I'm not dismissing what you're saying, Rob, because that's just one side of it, but that's just medication. Like they don't have anything to do with everything else. Like when we're looking at this thing from a scientific perspective, we looking at all the evidence, right? That's what we're supposed to do. So I know you feel a certain way, like why this person didn't do that and why that person didn't do that. We all understand that politically they are trying to make black people calm, but honestly, they didn't have to make me calm, but they had to do that politically. However, we are so far away from actually being in a position to where we even need to make an informed decision that it's not going to hinder us. Even though we're talking about it right now, But daily, we're getting access to things that are being, these people being very transparent with us and allowing us to get in on that. But go ahead, Malcolm. I see you back.
You're right. You're right. That's true. But now I will say this now, Rob Boy, you could rest assured that I'm one of them bros that's out here monitoring those differences. If I'm watching, trust me, and it wouldn't surprise me at all that there aren't any differences somewhere in the human body outside of skin differences. One of the things that I'm monitoring though is bones and calcium levels. That's one of the things I'm monitoring because of the vitamin D differences and things of that nature. Although the way we receive vitamin D is typically different. At least, we all get it from sunlight. It's just that we have to remain in the sunlight a little different. And we know vitamin D is what? It's pretty much a door opener for calcium to come in. Otherwise, your body will start to pull calcium from areas within the body like the bone. And then you got your hypothyroid or parathyroid gland and all this shit. But so with immunity is different. Like everybody got white blood cells. If I draw your complete metabolic panel or I draw your complete blood count, everybody has white blood cells. All of us got neutrophils, basophils, eosinophils, lymphocytes. Everybody has an entire blood panel. It doesn't matter. I've witnessed and attested to. And believe it or not, from what I've seen here, despite the fact that again I've studied and reviewed data on the immune system differences between ethnic groups, and I thought I was on to something. I'm actually still reviewing that, but everybody has the same amount of cells. So with that, the same type of cells. So with that being said, you do have, the vaccine will stimulate an immune response. And so being that we have the same, inflammation is inflammation. It doesn't matter. It's across the board. You feel what I'm saying? Even in animals, you know what I mean? Like, so the same cells are going to do the same thing. The vaccine should do the same thing. But I think with the trials, they didn't have I'm not sure, Shawn. I'm actually looking at the study right now, and I got a call and couldn't finish reading, and then I saw your show was on. I was interested about how many people were involved in how many African Americans were involved in the trial, because I know they were calling for many, and many of us weren't coming out because of that.
They had 3,000 a part of the Pfizer, and they split them in half.
Okay.
They gave 1,500 the placebo and 1,500 the actual vaccine that were part of the Pfizer. Now, when we get the full report that hasn't been published yet for our viewing, but I'm pretty sure that the FDA approval board, since they already gave Moderna the nod, they already got the science on that. And that's one of the reasons why yesterday I brought out Dr. Hildreth. And, because I was influenced to bring him out, because Sabian was like, man, you're using the enemy. So I brought out Dr. Hildreth. And let's see what Dr. Hildreth had to say on the subject matter. You know what I'm saying? And he's very transparent. And, he's one of the lead guys, especially for us. In Nashville, he one of the lead guys because he running a program that involves Vanderbilt students and Meharry students. Mm-hmm. So that makes a big deal too. But yeah, they gave it up, and then the science behind it all, and this is why I use the elder Mrs. Bonnie Blue. Bonnie Blue, 68 years old, from Chicago, Illinois. She got the vaccine. They try to talk her out of it. She talked about her experience.
Oh yeah, sorry.
What took place with her in that situation, and you know what I'm saying. She didn't have any real serious issues or anything like that, and she came out on the whole other side of it. Brother Unc on the panel now, so peace to Brother Unc, the God killer in the place to be. You're a little short on your arrival. You look like you just
Yo, wait, y'all talking about, man? Go ahead.
Rob Moore came in here and shook it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Got brothers to tempera on the fence. You know, we trying to bring some. I ain't trying to bring some tempera over. You know what I'm saying? But
on the fence of what though? I hope ain't nobody thinking there's a such thing as race-based medicine.
Hey,
I hope they ain't trying to play that card.
Nah, Rob Warren ain't got Satep on the fence based off what Satep or based off what. Yeah, I'm on the fence based off, I feel like the shit got made too fast, so that's why I'm on the fence about it. But
do you know who you are? Wait, hold. Do you know who you are, Satep and Rob?
Yeah, I know who I am, man.
Have you looked around you? Hold on. Have you looked around you lately? You're surrounded by scientific literacy. That's your job. Is to find out why you feel the way you feel. That's why you're on the team. There's an answer for that. There's videos for you to watch. Lectures with real radiologists. Like, you can't say that. Challenge it. You can challenge it, but bring real evidence. But everybody's watching, man. You on the most scientifically literate team that the fucking community got. And you acting like it's too fast.
Yeah, I feel what you're saying, man. But at the end of the day,
no.
Man,
don't feel what I'm saying. Figure out why I'm saying what I'm saying. I don't need you to feel me on this. I need you to prove that the vaccine was too fast, and we will all bow down to you. This I promise you.
No, I don't need nobody to bow down. Because look, my position is, I'm not here to convince anybody on my position, or I'm not here to convince somebody not to do it. You know what I'm saying?
No,
I'm just giving y'all how I feel about it.
No, we don't want to know how you feel about it, though. We don't want to know how you feel about it. We want to know what you know. We don't jump on platform and tell motherfuckers what we feel.
Okay, so Unc, you late to the party. You late to the party, Unc. Let me explain. You late to the party. So look, so based on my limited knowledge, I looked into it. I looked into it, and I said, what was the fastest vaccine that was created prior to this one?
5 years.
Exactly, 5 years. Correct. So
I know that, but go ahead.
Because I mean, you got to. If you telling me what, if your position is to convince me, you got to know that, right? So I know that as well. So with that being said, I feel like it was a little rushed. Now there is evidence out there, but we gonna see though, because we honestly, we don't know. We don't know.
Oh, you want to hear something funny? We do know. No, we do know. They had the vaccine before the virus came to America. Are you familiar with that?
They had the technology back in 1998, 92.
No. Hold on, Shawn. Don't even go back that far yet. Get them next. I'm telling you, they had the vaccine before the virus came to America. Am I lying? Where you at?
You asking me, are you lying? I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, I am telling you, they had it already. Do you know why they had it already?
No, I don't.
Go ahead, Shawn. Explain to them why they had it already. Like coronavirus is not a new fight. Explain that, Shawn.
They mapped it out. They had the science behind it already from previous coronavirus studies, except for on this instance, when they started mapping it out, the genome and all of that, when they found out it was different strands, like coming from China, then going to UK, and then coming over here, they started seeing the mutations and everything else like that. They were able to pinpoint it and harness it down based on the technology that they had when they knew that they had the science behind the mRNA vaccine, because they was already using it on animals. So they knew that they could get the structure right to where they can finesse it in a way for it to work on human beings based on all their research that they had from previous experiences.
Okay, so they got all that. Hold on. So they already know that it's 4 strands of the coronavirus that cause the common cold. If you look at Peter Hotez, he was already working on a vaccine for coronavirus. Okay, now let's look at the next 2 strands. You got the SARS and the MERS. These is part of the coronavirus. And then you got this other one, this new one, COVID-2. Okay, so that's 7 strands they looking at. You add the 1, now it's 7, right? So they was already there. Now the technology they use, the mRNA, they was already.
Pause, because you going too fast. You pulling that Brooklyn man, or not Brooklyn.
All right, I got you. Let me slow down.
Slow down.
All right, let me slow down.
It was 7, right?
Yeah, it was
They
6.
just got it right. They didn't find a vaccine for the first 6, but they found it for the 7th one because they all different strands. So they
you
was
just
able to
proved my
find
point.
it for. Hold on, let me finish. They was able to find it for COVID-19, but they wasn't able to find it for any of the other. It wasn't able to find it for any of the other ones prior to that. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that before your ass get to the moon, you gotta fail. Trying to
Right.
get to
I see that.
So they have periods of failing that you're not acknowledging. Acknowledge their failures. You feel me?
I
Like
don't want
acknowledge
to
Lamar
failure.
Jackson. Look, acknowledge Lamar Jackson never coming back from behind in the game. And then you watch on Monday Night Football. You can't say the nigga ain't came back. The nigga came back.
Companies stand by.
So what I'm saying is there's development stages that was already there. They had already given the vaccines to animals. They was using it. The shit just has not been improved for humans, but they already see how the technology works. Just like an electric car, you don't get the fucking electric car. You got to go through stages. And so I'm saying all that shit was there. And not to mention what they did was they used the spike protein, the ACE2 protein, and they mimicked it. They used electron microscope to actually look at it, blow it up, and they use this machine to kind of shape the protein. It looks just like that protein that's on a coronavirus. They use the fucking protein.
Look, man, I hope y'all right though. Listen, man, I'm not on here. I hope y'all right, man. I hope the shit works. All
We're
that.
not hoping. It is working.
I hope.
Hold on.
Like
We're
that.
not hoping.
I mean, I'm not on here to say that it ain't going. You know what I'm saying? But
No,
I'm just
it is
saying,
working.
though, man.
Listen,
I'm a little
it is working.
skeptic of it. That's
No,
it.
we're not hoping. While we sitting here hoping, motherfuckers got the vaccine already. So it's not hoping anymore. It's been proven to be effective. Now, what you want to say is, yo, how about the side effects or something? Say that. Say,
That's
yo.
what I said that. That's why I said, you came in late because I said we don't know what the long term effects are. We don't know.
They do know what the long term
Now
effects
how?
are.
Now how we know that?
Okay, well, you don't know the long term effects on the vaccine. It took 5 years. So what about 30 years from there? And you don't know the long term effects on the
But
vaccine.
hold
It took
on though,
20 years.
you going too fast, huh? Because you said they've been studying on this since 1998. You said they've been dealing with this.
Man,
So
they been fucking with that shit. Coronavirus.
that's what I'm saying. So that's enough time. Am I correct?
If there's to be a severe reaction, you will likely see that within 30 to 45 days.
Right.
Now, what
I
most
didn't say
most people
severe.
do?
That ain't. Hold on. Don't
Well,
say right.
long
I didn't say that. I
any
said
effect,
long term.
any effects that we should worry about. Most people are worried about some neurological issue happening later down the road. That's what the layman's people are worried about.
Yep.
But if anything gonna pop off, it's gonna pop off within a month and a half to 2 months.
Yeah,
that's why they monitored it for 2 months with the new vaccine.
Yeah, they know about
it would
that.
already did its thing.
Yeah, they've been doing vaccines since 1704 when the Africans start busting their head, and the niggas, the white boys around them had the same arguments. I just want you to know how we know it's safe. How we know They said the same shit, and we was looking at them like, come on, man. Come on, man. That's your only option. So now we're in a position where there is not another option, bro. What is your option? Watch this.
All right, Rob Bourne, I see you.
Hold on. Watch this. Watch this.
Yeah.
What is your option? Watch this, yo. What is your option? Okay, that we could use to get humanity back to functioning again, right? That would be not as harmful as what you thinking is going to be. So I'm saying that you think there's going to be some types of side effects. Okay, so I bet you whatever you come up with, you know what I'm saying, ain't going to beat whatever side effects we do get. This shit still be worth taking. That's my point I'm trying to make.
Okay. I see.
You feel me?
Yeah.
That the coronavirus is a side effect you don't want. Because right now I got cousins and stuff, older cousins and stuff. Now they had the coronavirus early in the game. Now they fucking living shit starting to fail. Shit starting to pop up. People are being tired for long periods of time now. Give me so whatever side effects we get from the vaccine, it ain't gonna outweigh having coronavirus, bro. Having coronavirus.
Let me ask you this.
No, do you get that though? You got to get that.
Yeah, I got that part. Let me ask you this though.
Nah, you ran too quick. You don't get it.
Yeah, I got you. Listen, let me ask you this question. If you have so somebody had the coronavirus and they survived it,
yeah,
do they need the vaccine?
Yes.
Yep,
Yes.
because immunity might have waned. They don't know that yet. They don't know
Hey,
how.
they said, but last night I made it clear. Last night's show that you're not gaining any type of immunity from it. You know what I'm saying? We went through two examples of that. We had the doctors from JAMA talking about it, and we had Dr. Hildreth talking about it. Like reinfection, you can get it. Like he said last night, a dude had it 3 times, yo. He was reinfected 3 times.
Oh yeah. That vaccine is some.
So let me ask y'all this, man.
High power shit, yo.
Well, let me say this before you go. I saw a dude get tested for. Damn. Might be me. I saw. Hold on.
Yeah, let me ask y'all this. He done made me lose my train of thought with that shit.
Yeah, that was the he was giving out the vaccine.
We're talking about side effects, immunity. Well, that's what we was just on. We were just on immunity.
Yep.
And you asked if people needed to get the vaccine.
Yeah. I remember that.
They had it already.
I was gonna ask something else.
Oh, okay.
It'll come back to me though.
So wait, so what you plan on doing? Like what is it? What you
Nah,
got?
he waiting on the evidence. You know what I'm saying?
What you got for us while we waiting on the evidence?
Hold on. That's what I was saying. Like that's what I was saying. My position is not to get on here and tell people not to take the vaccine. You know what I'm saying?
So what you gonna tell them? That it might be.
I ain't telling them nothing. Now listen, that's what I'm saying. I'm not telling them shit, huh? Everybody ain't got to be on here to tell somebody something. I'm on here to support. I'm on here to learn just like everybody else. I'm on here to ask the questions that the chat want to ask. I'm not on here to tell them. I ain't got the science on it. This ain't my lane. You know what I'm saying? Like I know where my lane is. I stay in my lane, and if I don't know it, I ain't afraid to go live and say, you know. And then I'm dealing with y'all, and y'all gonna get me right? That's what we here for, right?
Man, check this out. Young lady, man, I can't even tell y'all where she worked, but she worked in one of the top research hospitals in the nation. She's like number 3 in running this facility, right? Her husband never has had multiple cardiac surgeries. She caught the coronavirus and was got demolished by it, right? Got decimated by it. She later recovered, whatever the case may be. He caught the coronavirus. Didn't go to the hospital not once. Not one time did he have to be hospitalized. You know what happened a few months down the line? His ass had a seizure.
Oh, hell no.
They took him to the hospital and they asked him, they kind of worked him up as if he was a normal seizure patient. He was like, I never had seizures. They were like, well, okay, well, what kind of medical history you got? Told him he had the coronavirus. They said, oh, okay, that's probably what it was. And so the wife or whatever, they asked, like, well, why didn't y'all catch it earlier? They said, well, did his ass go to the hospital? They said, no, well, we probably would have caught it had he came to the hospital. Because COVID caused a neurological problem in the long term. Who want to be that one? Or 2 or 3?
So listen, I'm saying we on here because we understand. And people ask the questions because they don't understand. And it's simple as that. And there's nothing wrong with asking questions, but the questions that a lot of people ask are shit that's already been dealt with, meaning the scientific community has dealt with it. Like nobody gonna ask questions that the scientific community ain't. If you're not in the scientific community, what question could you possibly ask that would go stump a scientist? You got to know what the hell they doing before you go stump a scientist. You would literally have to be a scientist or working in that field or studying that to stump a scientist. Like all the shit that we know about the side effects and this, that, and the other, it all comes from the people we claim we don't trust. That's why it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like you saying I don't trust them, but yet you using the shit that they told you against them based off you not understanding the information. Now I ain't trying to be on you. I'm just saying, yo, you're part of a hell of a team, bro. And being part of a hell of a team, yo, comes great responsibility, bro. I ain't saying you come on here to tell people this and that. I'm just saying, yo, it's great responsibility, yo. I swear, yo, people, when you might not know it right now, yo, but when you say something, people is fucking listening, yo, and they taking that shit dead serious. That's the team.
I feel you. And it's great responsibility in saying I don't know when you do not know.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
It's great responsibility in that, like I said.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know everything. I know I'm a part of a research team. I know what my lane is in that research. This ain't my lane. So if I'm on here saying I don't know something,
right.
what I'm saying is I got brothers on the team that's gonna get me together. You feel me?
You're right. Watch this. I'm gonna say this. I don't know if the meta has been deciphered.
See, I'm gonna pull you in.
No, but I wouldn't say that though.
But hey, let me ask you this. Okay, let me ask you this.
No, I ain't even gonna mention that.
Have you said it before though?
Nah, I ain't never. Yeah, about 9-10 years ago.
Okay, that's my thing. That's my thing. So maybe 9-10 years ago, September I come back, we laugh about this.
He said that nigga, I ain't taking that.
He said, watch this. Has a metal nut been
Yeah, you crazy. I ain't fuck with you, bro. I ain't messing with you. You said they trying to make us like the Joker, huh?
With the laughing gas. Oh man.
Yeah.
Y'all make us all had a Joker smile, yo. That's crazy, yo.
Nah, I believe. I do believe though. The vaccine is getting made with every intention to heal the human race as a whole, white, black, blue, or green. So I do believe that.
Oh man, that's vaccine science at the whole time high, yo.
Yeah, we just I like the position that we in though. I just like the position that we're in because it's not we're not at a position to make a decision, an informed decision on that right now. We still getting all the information. So we get to study the work that's being done real time. So while they doing the work real time, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like last night, when I went over that first bill, the JAMA bill, that video was to be released today. Like it was for people to watch today. But when I seen it pop up, I was like, nah, we talking about this tonight. They had a whole nother show hours before that. But that show, that Q&A was way more important because I feel like our people learn more from Q&As because we're not asking some of these questions that these scientists are being asked. We only worried about like a few things, but you know, the rest of the population have other concerns. So if we worry about the few things we're worried about, and then everybody else in the population with their concerns, that helps us know more. So when we do when we do read an article, and we do get the published work towards something, we're already abreast to what we need to be abreast to address it a certain way. So that helps me. I don't know if it helps everybody else, but that helps me to know more because now I can properly make an informed decision on what I want my family to do and the people around me to do based on the evidence. And you know, since we all know demonstration beats conversation, so we have to demonstrate that in that entirety. So I get I get what's the tip coming from the position of I don't know. I just think it was this, you know, even though you're saying this and I get it because he ain't slow, he get it. But it just it's on his time. Yeah, it's on his time. But
nah, it just
hey, man, I just feel like
he more afraid of the vaccine than the goddamn coronavirus, yo. Yeah, think about that, Temporal. You're actually more afraid of the vaccine. Listen to me, yo, than the coronavirus. The reason I'm gonna take the vaccine because the coronavirus will fuck your ass up long term. So I'm saying anything that I get for the vaccine ain't gonna be like that motherfucking catching that motherfucking cacao, yo. That's crazy. That's all I'm saying.
Man, and I know people, man, who work out regularly. I'm talking about marathon type activity. Got their ass lost by this virus. Still coughing to this day.
Oh man, yeah.
Those side effects are brutal because it is leaving an impression. But just like you said, though, Satel, we don't know the long term. We don't know the long term of the vaccine. We don't, you know what I'm saying? They actually do. They haven't. They know what it is based on what's being presented from a year ago. So they already got a year of people being infected and people who have gotten over the virus because they're still keeping medical records of those people that we really have forgotten as a part of the conversation when we're looking at evidence based. So we know that, you know, a lot of these people who have contracted the virus and that have recovered are being followed. And it's like,
I remember what I wanted to ask y'all.
Go ahead.
People who are asymptomatic, do they need the vaccine?
Yes.
Why?
Because
H-E-double hockey stick, yes.
Yeah, asymptomatic people can infect people.
Well, I'm saying like, but if the person like, so what I'm saying is the asymptomatic person technically don't need it for themselves; they need it for other people. Am I right or wrong?
Here's the thing: virus shedding, that would be considered around virus shedding. But here's the thing about asymptomatic people: if they contract this or come into it over a period of time, COVID is going to outweigh that asymptomatic stuff. Because at some point they ain't gonna continue to build up some type of immunity to it because they keep losing immunity to it, and that's where the reinfection comes in. And you don't know what damage it's actually doing to an asymptomatic because that research really hasn't been fully been done to answer the whole slew of questions. But what they do know is the asymptomatic stand a better chance of just being vaccinated and being safer than not and just letting it ride out.
Okay.
Yo, see, I'm not taking that. I'm gonna take my chance with Corona.
See, Dave actually contracted it, and it hit him really hard. So through his experience, he's still saying right now in the chat, like he just said, you know, I'm still coughing. So he ain't the only one, though. You know, we got Rob too. Rob had it. Shawn, the Morpheus had it, and Morpheus lost his his daughter.
His daughter,
yeah. So Morpheus had COVID, and then his daughter had COVID. Morpheus survived it. His daughter passed away, and this was recently. So,
we at the mercy. Yeah. I'm telling everybody right now, you couldn't make this up. We is a generation that is at the mercy of nature. There is no other option. There's only one option. And that's that thing. I get the fear, man, because that's how it was in the 1700s. 1705, 1721. They were looking at them niggas saying, yo, we ain't doing that, yo. I get it, yo, but I'm saying there is no other option. But what our ancestors left us an option. I don't care what nobody say. These black Africans left us an option. I'm telling you, bro. There's only one option, though. One option. There ain't nothing. You can do whatever you want. Take some vitamin D after you get it. Take some herbs after you get it. Take some antiviral medicine after you get it. After you get it. But if you don't want to get it, you want that 94% chance? I'm not getting it. There you go. I'm more afraid of coronavirus than the vaccine. That's all I'm gonna tell you. That's my answer.
Oh, to answer Rob Bourne's question earlier, they just announced that Fauci, Pence, Biden, and Harris are getting the vaccine soon. So they're scheduled to get their vaccine soon. So
people gonna say
ain't gonna be nothing left for us.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I want you and Unc. I want Shawn. I want you and Unc to get y'all's vaccine live via Facebook.
I'm gonna do mine live.
I'm
gonna try to.
You ain't gonna get nothing. Shawn, how long you think this flag get this shit? We ain't gonna be able to get this shit the next year.
Yeah, maybe late next year.
Right, yo, y'all worrying about some shit you can watch everybody for a whole year, yo. How about that? That make you feel better?
That's all I needed, man.
That shit funny. I thought y'all knew that though. Y'all niggas ain't getting it first, no matter what y'all niggas say.
You ain't getting it first.
You're not important enough. Why we thought we was gonna be first in line?
They been giving to their multiple personnel first.
Right, y'all ain't getting that shit.
With it.
Man, listen,
man. You have plenty of time to see how everybody else reacted.
Man, y'all not getting black people get a chance to see how it works. Y'all was lawful thinking. They gonna give the black people first. Y'all was really trying to trick them.
Hey, real quick, I want to kind of stay on topic. We had some fun right here, and it's always good, especially when we all learning from each other. But I wanted to get into Moderna because there's news on Moderna. There's going to be more news on Moderna, and I'm sure that you'll want to touch on. But I just want to kind of like share my screen real quick, and I want to get into two facets of Moderna. One, the FDA analysis of Moderna COVID vaccine finds it effective and safe. And there's a related article on this regarding this. I think they're on air talking about this right now. And here's the FDA's briefing. So I wanted to, before I even got started, I wanted to get here and let y'all know, here it is, the Vaccine-Related Biological Product Advisory Committee meeting, December 17, 2020. The FDA briefing. What's today's date? What's today's date, y'all? Today is the 15th. We have the vaccination briefing for 12/17 is when this is supposed to come out. So we got it early. We got it early. We got this document early, and there's going to be more documents to come behind it, and it's all in the description, right? So here we go. This is what's in the table of contents of this document, right? We got the executive summary, the background, dealing with the pandemic, the EUA's request for Moderna, the U.S. requirements, alternatives for prevention of COVID, applicable guidance for the industry, continuation of clinical trials, previous meetings, I think that might be right. Topic of the VRB PAC discussion, Moderna COVID-19, the vaccine composition, proposed use of the EUA, and then we got the FDA review, which is important. And then we got the sponsors plan, continuing blinded. Let's look. Plans continuing blinded, placebo-controlled follow-up. All right. And then formal, whatever that word is, activities. And then the benefit risk assessment in the context of proposed identification. Of course, you got the appendix and all the sources. And then there's a list of tables associated with this particular document. And it goes down and gives you abbreviations for everything that they're talking about. As Black people, we're more concerned with the adverse effects of the vaccine. So we're looking at the efficacy and the safety. And so we'll go on down to 31, 22 first, and then 31. Or we can go to 31. That's more important. We know it's efficacious. It's got 90-some% efficacy. So we get through all the tables. We almost did 31. And here we go.
What'd you say, Shawn? Adverse effects? Black people worried about adverse effects?
Yeah. Black people worry about the effects.
And then go buy a bag of weed from a stranger. All right, man, go ahead.
Stop.
Now, the safety analysis presented in this review are largely derived from a 12/11/20 data set that was based on the 12/30/20 EAU request. FDA has not independently verified the complete safety data set and analysis from the cutoff date of 11/25. However, all new deaths, SAEs, unsolicited adverse events of the interest, and pregnancies were reviewed reviewed using the cutoff date 11/25. No additional safety concerns were raised based on the additional data reviewed by the FDA or analysis presented by the sponsor. The safety analysis for the November 25th, 2020 cutoff date, as presented by sponsor, appeared to align from within the interim analysis in terms of overall of the types of solicited and unsolicited adverse events. All right, so the adverse events were reported in a higher proportion of vaccine recipients than placebo recipients. And this imbalance was driven by reactogenicity, which we talked about 2 shows ago. Solicited AEs, which is adverse effects, report in the 7 days following each dose of the vaccine. The proportion of participants with SAEs, death, and withdrawals due to adverse events were balanced across the study groups. Overall, rates of AEs were lower in participants with baseline positive SARS-CoV-2 status compared with those with baseline negative SARS-CoV-2 status. The tables below provided an overview of the rates of AEs by treatment groups and baseline SARS-CoV-2. All right, so here you have your participant baselines and dealing with the adverse effects. We're looking for safety issues, and we can't make anything out of this here. If you want to deal with deaths, you got deaths here, related deaths. You see them zeros down there. Out of the participants, you're going to deal with that there. Let's go on and let's see if they be a little bit more specific. In the subgroup analysis of 65 years of age or older, you have rates of solicited reactions, grade 3 or higher, and all unsolicited adverse events, AEs, and all related were comparable to those observed in all participants. And then here's another summary. Like I said, the full report is going to be detailed as heck. All right. And this is going to give us everything that we need to know and what we need to look into as far as the adverse effects. Now, we have been able to cheat, and we already know what some of the adverse effects are. It's the same across the board. Mild fever, mild body aches. You know, the same thing. You have some people reporting at the first dose and then some reporting after the second dose. All this technical stuff on the screen is basically going to hype this up, but the full report, when we get into it, we're going to go directly down there and we're going to get specifically 5 people had this, 10 people had that, 11 people had this. You know, it's going to be like out of 164 people reporting adverse effects, that's what the report going to look like. We already know the cheat sheet. This one right here is just going to give you some percentages and numbers and things that they're actually testing. Now, here's the most important part of this early report. Systemic, this and then the thing at the bottom actually. So let me, if I can get this out of the way. Solicited systemic AR were reported for the majority of the vaccine recipients at a higher rate than at the placebo recipients. Vaccine recipients had higher rates of systemic reactions after the second dose than the first dose. The proportions of vaccines and placebo participants reporting systemic AR were as follows. Reporting any grade was 54.9% versus 42.2% after dose 1, and 79.3% versus 36.5% after dose 2. And reporting grade 3 was 2.9% versus 2.0% after dose 1, and 15.7% versus 2.0% after dose 2, respectively. Across the groups and doses, the 0.1% reported a grade 4 systemic reaction, mainly fever, 104 degrees. The majority of the vaccine recipients reported onset of systemic AR while at home either on day 1, 33.7%, or day 2, 37.0%, and the median duration after any dose was 2 days. So 2 days systemic adverse reaction. Overall, the most frequently reported systemic AR was fatigue, reported by 68.5% of the vaccine recipients, and they had fatigue in the placebo group. 36.1% of the placebo recipients. After any dose, grade 3 fatigue was reported by 9.6% of the vaccine participants and 1.3% of the placebo recipients. Grade 4 fatigue was reported by 1% in the vaccine group and none in the placebo group. After dose 1, any grade 3 fatigue was reported by 37.2%, which is or 1.0% of the vaccine recipients, and after dose 2, grade 3 fatigue was reported 65.2% and 9.7% of the placebo vaccine recipients. The median duration for fatigue in vaccine recipients was 2 days after any dose. The highest rate of fatigue were reported by participants 18 to 64 years after the second dose, was 67.6% reporting any fatigue, 10.6% reporting grade 3, and 1 participant reported grade 4 after dose 1. Rates of solicited systemic AR were headache, 63% vaccine group, 36.5% placebo. myalgia, 59% vaccine group, 20% placebo group. Arthritis, what is that, Malcolm, if you're on here? 44.8% vaccine group, 17.2% placebo. Chills, 43% vaccine group, 9.5% placebo group. The rates of grade 3 AR were headache, 5.5%, vaccine group, 2.2% placebo group. Myalgia, which is 8.6% in the vaccine group, 0.6% in placebo. Arthritis, 5.1% vaccine, 0.5% placebo. Chills, 1.3% vaccine group, 0.2% placebo group. So that's dose 1 and 2s. The medium duration was 1 day after dose 1 and 1 to 2 days after dose 2. The highest rates of solicited reactions observed in participants 18 to 64 years after dose 2 and included the following: headache, 62%, 5% reporting grade 3. Myalgia, 61%, over 10% grade 3. Arthritis, is 45%, 5.8% grade 3, and chills 45% by the vaccinated and 1.5% by the placebo. There was one vaccine recipient in the younger age cohort who also reported grade 4 after dose 1. Now, the fever was reported after any dose by 14.8% of the participants, 0.6% of the placebo. Fever was reported after 1 dose in 0.8% of the vaccine recipients, 15% of the vaccine recipients after dose 2. Grade 3, 102-degree temperature was reported by 11 participants of the vaccine recipients after dose 1, and 1.3%, which was 186 participants of the vaccine recipients after dose 2. Grade 4, which was 104-degree temp fever, were reported by 4 vaccine recipients over dose 1 and 11 after dose 2. In participants 18 to 64, after dose 2, any fever, grade 3 fever, and grade 4 fever were reported in 1,806 people, which was 17.4% of the people. 168% of the participants, 1.6%, and 10 participants, 0.1%, respectively. All right, I know I'm boring the heck out of y'all. Almost done. Systemic reactions persisting longer than 7 days were reported in both age cohorts of vaccine and placebo recipients after any dose. In the vaccine group, it was 11.9% of participants reported solicited reactions that persisted beyond 7 days, compared to 9.5% of the placebo participants. In the younger cohort, 9.8% of the vaccine recipients, 8.9% of the placebo group reported systemic reactions and persisted beyond 7 days, and 2.0% of the vaccine recipients and 1.2% of the placebo recipients reported grade 3 and 4 systemic reactions that persisted beyond 7 days. In the older group, it was 9.4% of the vaccine recipients and 8.1% of the placebo recipients. These test results are aligning to what the doctors were saying yesterday as far as how the vaccine, and today, how the vaccine was working in the elderly versus the youth. They were getting, pretty much the same reactions or the same results. Now, 9.4% of the vaccine recipients and 8.1% of the placebo recipients reported a systemic reaction that persisted. 1.7% of the vaccine recipients, which was 63 participants of the 0.8% of the placebo group recipients, which was 31 participants, reported grade 3 or 4 reaction that persisted. The most frequent reported systemic reaction that persisted beyond 7 days in the vaccine recipient, placebo recipients between 18 and 64 years were fatigue, headache, fatigue, which was 5.7 in the vaccine, 5.0 in the placebo, headache, 4.8 in the vaccine, 4.0 in the placebo. Myalgia was 2.7. It was even, 2.7 in the placebo, 2.7 in the vaccine. Arthritis was 2.6 in the vaccine, 2.8 in the placebo. And in the older cohort, fatigue, 5.8%, 4.5, 5.8 in the vaccine, 4.5 in the placebo. Arthritis, let's see, 3.7 in the vaccine, 3.8 in the placebo. Myalgia was 2.9 in the vaccine, 2.7 in the placebo, and headache was mild, 2.8% in the vaccine, 2.7 in the placebo. Now, fever persisted beyond 7 days in the 7 vaccine recipients and 4 in the placebo recipients, all who were younger age cohort. There were 2 vaccine recipients who reported grade 3 fever that persisted and none in the placebo group. And then they go down and give you another table and deal with all the results that we just gave you. And then we can deal with the unsolicited AEs, but we're going to get more into that later in the week. So this is what we know and what the results are looking at. So I know y'all see something down here talking about seriousness and deaths, right? You see how you had deaths in the mRNA and then deaths in the placebo group. We need to figure out that data. What happened to the people that died? As you can see, more people in the placebo group died. And then the vaccine group, we need to figure out that. Anybody want to bet money that the vaccine didn't cause a death? Dang it. I tried to hide it. All right, so here we go. Let's deal with the deaths. As of December 3rd, 2020, 13 deaths were reported, 6 vaccines, 7 placebo. 2 deaths in the vaccine group were in participants 75 years of age with pre-existing cardiac disease. 1 participant died of cardiopulmonary arrest 21 days after dose 1. And 1 participant died of myocardial infarction 45 days.
Myocardial infarction.
Yeah.
That's a heart attack.
Heart attack after 45 days of dose 2. Another 2 vaccine recipients were found deceased at home, and the cause of death is uncertain. A 70-year-old participant in cardiac disease was found deceased 57 days after dose 2, and 56-year-old participant with hypertension, chronic back pain, being treated with opioid medication, died 37 days after dose 1. The official cause of death was listed as head trauma. One case was a 72-year-old vaccine recipient with Crohn's disease and short bowel syndrome who was hospitalized for, thrombocytopenia and acute kidney failure due to obstructive nephropathy. I can't never say that. 40 days after dose 2 and developed complications resulting in multi-organ failure and death. 1 vaccine recipient died of suicide 21 days after dose 1. The placebo recipients died from cardiac arrest. You had intra-abdominal perforation, systemic inflammatory response syndrome and setting of a known malignancy, and COVID. One of them called COVID-19, and an unknown case. These deaths present events and rates that occur in general populations of individuals in these age groups. So that goes with basically the alignment. And yes, you heard me. One of the people caught COVID-19 and died. They were part of the placebo group. So pretty much they're natural deaths. Okay. Now, non-fatal serious adverse events among participants who received at least 1 dose of the vaccine placebo. The proportion of participants who reported at least 1 SAE from dose 1 to the primary analysis cutoff date was 1% in the mRNA 1273 group and 1% in the placebo group. The most common SAEs occurring in higher rates in the vaccine group than the placebo group were the myocardial infarction, heart attack. 0.03 in the vaccine group, 5 cases versus 3 cases in the placebo group. What is that? Cholestasis. I don't know, I might be saying that wrong. Mel, correct me. 0.02 in the vaccine group, which was 3 versus 0 in the placebo. And nephritis is 0.2 in the vaccine, which is 3 cases, and 0 in the placebo. Small number of cases of these events do not suggest a causal relationship. The common SAEs occurring at higher rates in the placebo arm and the vaccine arm, aside from the COVID-19, 0.1 in the placebo group, were pneumonia, 0.5 in the placebo group, pulmonary embolism, 0.3 in the placebo group. Occurrences of SAEs, including cardiovascular SAEs, were otherwise balanced between treatment groups. All right, so we got the adverse effects of everything going on right there. And we got into the deaths. So we are aware that there was a few more deaths in this trial, the Moderna trial, than the Pfizer trial. Pfizer had like 4 deaths. None of them related to the actual vaccine. And one of them was a COVID death themselves. Yep, it's a COVID death. But we're going to get more results out of this, like I said, later in the week, and it's going to deal with what it needs to deal with, and we can get through there. But this is pretty much in the description. This is in the description as well. It's the early homework. And we can go back and we can study it and be more counter. It ain't due until the 17th, but we got it. All right, so here we are on that. It's our timeline and map directly from Moderna. And then I just gave you the briefing and everything to go with that. Overall, the efficacy was pretty high with the Moderna trials. So they have already did an EAU asking to, provide emergency use to people so that they can get their vaccine out and working as well. So that's 2 out of 3. I think next up is going to be AstraZeneca and then Johnson & Johnson. And then we will have more. And then if the I always miss Sanofi, whatever it is, that company, when they roll out, they're expected to roll out in the summer. And instead of them doing an actual trial on its own, they want to do a trial that will include testing all 5 vaccines, doing a phase 3 test with all 5 vaccines involved in it. And we will be able to compare and contrast the efficacy in all 5 vaccine trials on people. And we can see which ones are more effective and which one has the least side effects or adverse effects. And then we can get into all the related issues that we're looking for as far as Black people.
I'll tell you this. It's going to be a few people, if not one, it's going to get a Nobel Peace Prize behind this vaccine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Yep. Absolutely.
What category?
Oh man. Regard as far as Fauci deserves something in some category just for dealing with Donald Trump for 4 years. A peace. He need a sanity prize for what he had to deal with. But as far as these companies making it and all of that, I mean, those are features. You asked a good question, though, Satel.
What did he say? What was his question?
Nah, just as far as like what category would these, would some of these people fit as far as winning a Nobel Prize? Somebody gonna get one though about this coronavirus stuff. Somebody gonna get one. Humanitarian or something. Somebody gonna get something.
You know what's deep? Bill? Mm-hmm. I think that what's vital. You know what's deep, Shawn?
Yeah, go ahead.
That right now we're in the middle of history, man. And for the first time in our generations, right, that we was faced with a threat, an enemy that was invisible. And so you see the best and the worst kind of people, man. Based off the internet, YouTube and all that, Facebook, the whole 9 yards, we see how misinformation climbed at an all-time high, man. And I just like to say, man, I'm proud of all the brothers, man, and sisters, and all the families, man, that through this whole situation, man, you know, we didn't fall off and get spooked out, and we stuck to the science. No matter if it was white people promoting it, black people promoting it, we stuck with the science, man. And see, history won't forget us for that, yo. It just won't. Like, this is some brand new shit. Nobody expected to be in a damn pandemic. Some human beings, I've read stories about pandemics. You know what I'm saying? 1918, where motherfuckers act like it wasn't happening because it was so horrible, they didn't even talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen people now act like it's not real and then catch it and die. We seen Curtis with all the cars and all the white boys he with miseducate black people on purpose on platforms. You know what I'm saying? Like, we see all this. We see people who think they don't know and get scared and fall off. But I'm proud of y'all, man, for sticking with the science, man. So, you know what I mean? You either sticking with the science or you running with the spooks. Simple as that. And so I'm gonna stand up for my people, and I'm gonna make sure that y'all see me get my vaccine. So y'all will know I not only talk the talk, I walk the goddamn walk. So, you know what I mean? This shit is crucial for us. Now, if my head fall off after I take the vaccine, just laugh at that nigga. Laugh at me and say, yo, he still stood up for his people.
Goes down as a martyr.
Yep, I'll take it. Yep. Shit. Somebody gotta do it, yo. Somebody gotta do it. Like ain't nobody gonna do it for us. Ain't nobody gonna take vaccines for our community, man. We gotta see, this proves how much we don't love our community, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see white people and everybody saying, man, I'm joining the vaccine trials. And they ain't thinking about the Korean, ain't thinking about the white man. They think about they family. You know what I'm saying? Like, white people, they like, man, we're gonna stand up. And here we are talking about we ain't doing it. I ain't talking about you, bro. I'm just simply saying just the overall tone from our community proves that we went through atrocities called the transcontinental kidnapping trade. And we still talking about we the best. We done got ran the fuck over in this pandemic, man. Native Americans, Mexicans, and African Americans, they got ran the hell over. You can read the statistics. Maybe you should pull that shit up, Shawn. There's an article showing that we got ran over and we still got these damn pseudos talking shit. Give me some vitamin D, you know what I'm saying, and some hot water and I'm good. Polite and all of them talking 5 Jesus to death. Where the hell he at? Where you at, Polite? Severe Bay, anti-vaxxer. The whole community is anti-vax. They leading people astray. They trying to tell us what? You know what I'm saying? We trying to, they talking about they got the solution by telling us don't fuck with the solution. Ain't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
They're saying that they have the solution. And their solution is telling us don't mess with the solution, y'all. Because the white man is trying to kill us. Boy, man.
Hey, yo, so what is all of oregano shit? People seriously believe that shit, yo. Yo, I was watching all of oregano. I was watching. I went back and watched the Sabir and Shawn interaction, and he actually said that shit to him, bro. Like, that's
it's
crazy,
some shit you
yo.
put around your pizza, your slice of pizza.
What is he saying he's supposed to do?
I got him, man. He's supposed. Man, he just talking. It's an antiviral for no. We read it on the show. It's kind of, it could work as an antiviral. They don't got all the math on that shit. First of all, it ain't got shit on corona, and it's a bad thing. The licorice too. He talks about the licorice. The whole 9 yards is bad, man. It's just bad, dog. This ain't it. This not the time to give the community. This ain't the time for Dr. Sabi shit. It's not, yo.
So all of oregano do is kill worms.
Yep. It's crazy, yo. I mean, think about that shit, yo. Think about what long watch people are talking about. People who've been around for years. Sabir Bey been around for years, yo. Y'all remember when he got beat up on the couch by Seti back in the day, right? Yeah, these niggas. Listen, man, you got Ali Baba Muhammad. He promoting this nigga. Tell me he's an indigenous doctor.
He been saying he gonna run for president every year.
Like, man, he got that little money.
And he said I got the universe on my side.
They sick, yo.
So tell me, I don't think you've seen his web. Did you see his website when we showed it?
Whose website? Whose website?
Ali Muhammad.
He do breast implants, yo.
What?
Oh
my
butt
God.
Implants, yo. Butt implants, male enhancement with the kids holding the bottle. Like, man, that shit is. I'm trying to figure that out.
Wow. Damn.
Oh my God.
That's why we need all hands on deck. Some Tepera.
Well, I ain't gonna let that go.
He let it down. He let it down.
Let it go.
You trust me too much.
No, hey, Tepera. You backed me up when I said about the Meta because I was the big with a son and.
I know you was. That's why I asked you that question. You got to remember, man. I come up under Wujaru, so I got all types of daggers in my back pocket when it's time to go to war, man. But yeah, man. Nah, it's all good, man. Like I said, man. I'm not here to tell nobody not to get out. I just want to see more evidence. I'm being more scientific. I'm like, I just want to see more evidence. That's it.
I get it.
Don't get it twisted. Like. Work if it comes down to it, of course, I'm getting the vaccine. Like I'm not on here, but I just want to, like I said, I just want to see more evidence on it.
You mean you want to read about the more evidence because they got it there? You just got to read it.
Right. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Basically,
you gotta read it. You gotta read it. Yeah, you gotta read it. I don't know, man. It's look, man. Look, who if we don't do it, who gonna do it? Some type of raw. Like you forgot. You're the help, bro. You know how we looking for help. You talking about. You need more evidence. You the one got to find it, yo.
yeah. They waiting on you.
They waiting on you. Bro, you forgot, yo. You forgot what you. Can you read the logo, please, sir?
All right.
we the last book, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you work for the fire department and you ask for help. You're like, wait a minute, nigga. Ain't you the fire department?
You asking me for water.
Yeah, like God damn, you don't know? Contemporary, you mean tell me you don't know? That's what I'm saying. Oh man, boy,
it be like that too, man.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, man. Look. Hey man, we not outnumbered, man. We outnumbered by the dumb. One thing about being outnumbered, I don't mind being outnumbered by dumb people. You feel me? If you outnumbered by dumb people, you're winning because they just dumb. And it's a lot of them and a little bit of us, but they dumb.
Right.
Yeah, man. So that's really all I had for everybody today, man, was that, I wanted to deal with the breaking news, that new strain coming from the UK, and what they're calling it.
Yeah, so run that back, reiterate that, because we've been on here. That was damn near 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
Well, the vaccine gonna work against that count?
Huh?
Is the vaccine gonna work against the new strain?
They said no worries. It's not looking to be as aggressive or anything like that, but they're gonna have to look at the science and all the way around the board to deal with that. So I'm gonna pull the article back up because you're right. We did deal with that a little bit ago, and people that joined later, and they didn't see any of this. So so here we are, ladies and gentlemen. A new coronavirus strain spread in the UK has key mutations, scientists say. British scientists are trying to establish whether the rapid spread in southern England of a new variant of the virus that causes COVID-19 is linked to the key mutations that have detected the strand that they said on Tuesday. Now, the mutation includes changes to an important spike protein that the SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus uses to infect human cells. A group of scientists tracking the genetics of the virus said but it is not clear yet whether these are making it more infectious. Efforts are on the way to confirm whether or not these mutations are contributing to increased transmission. The scientists from the COVID-19 Genomics UK, which is COG-UK Consortium, said in a statement. The new variant, which the UK scientists have named VUI 2020-12-01, includes a mutation in the viral genome region encoding the spike protein, which in theory could result in COVID-19 spreading more easily between people. The British government on Monday cited a rise in new infections, which it said may be partly linked to the new variant as it moved its capital city and other areas into a higher tier of COVID-19 restriction. On the 13th of December, COVID-19 cases with the new variant have been identified predominantly in the south and east of England. Public Health England in a statement. So there was 1,108 new COVID cases, and the new variant had been identified. Now, but there's currently no evidence that the variant is more likely to cause severe COVID-19 infections, the scientists said, or that it would render vaccine less effective. Both questions require further studies performed at pace. The COG-UK scientists said mutation or genetic changes arise naturally in all viruses, including SARS-CoV-2, as they replicate and circulate in human populations. In the case of SARS-CoV-2, these mutations are accumulating at a rate around 1 to 2 mutations per month globally, according to COG-UK genetic specialists. As a result of this ongoing process, many thousands of mutations have already arisen in the SARS-CoV-2 genome since the virus emerged in 2019, they said. The majority of the mutations seen so far have no apparent effect on the virus, and only a minority are likely to change the virus in any significant way for people, making it more able to infect people, more likely to cause severe illness, or less sensitive to natural or vaccine-induced immune deficiencies. Susan Hopkins, a PhD medical advisor, said it is not unexpected that the virus should evolve, and it's important that we spot any changes quickly to understand the potential risk. She said the new variant is being detected in a wide geography, especially where there are increased cases being detected. So there we go on that, and we are updated. So, and that's the statement where they come in and do what they got to do. We just got to be up on all the new science. We got to be up on what's going on with this thing, how it's spreading, how it's reacting. And like, you know, American scientists really haven't got into this. This is just the UK coming out and saying what they're saying about things right now. The more we know, the better we are, you know, the better we are, the sharper we are, and more prepared we are to educate ourselves on the subject matter. But that's the way we started the show. For everybody who, you know, joined late, we dealt with that article, you know, that variant, that new strain, that new variant, and it's significant. Brother Malcolm is back, you know, with us. We appreciate him making his sacrifices front line in the fight, and also staying informed and keeping us in tune with what he got going on down there in the M-Town. Anybody got any questions, though, related to that article? Or go ahead, Malcolm. I know you want to say something. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying appreciate it, man. My phone it went out. I'm in a hospital now, man. It's be overloaded. Trying to see if I can free some units up.
Yeah. Ain't nobody in them hospitals. Ain't nobody in them hospitals. What you talking about?
Shoot, man. If I could show y'all, I would.
Yeah, ain't nobody in them junks. Anybody got any questions though regarding to the new strand or anything else that we actually have dealt with?
Yeah, I got one. That's why I said I wanted you to run that back. So regarding the new strand, will the virus be able to, or not the virus, will the vaccine be compatible with the new strand and work against it?
Right now, the honest answer is they don't have that data, but it should not be an issue. With the mRNA vaccine, they can quickly modify the vaccine to work in a way that will constitute that variant. Since, you know, they already got to work, all they got to do is reconfigure what they need to do with that. And if you're dealing with the same way, the spike protein, how it attacks us, as long as they know how the spike protein attacks the human body, they can help it. You know, the vaccine will be fine. We're helping create an immune response against that spike protein, so it can't attach or latch on to us. So you got to look at it in this sense. Think about off, like when you spray off on your body, and then you go out in the woods or something like that, and how it's a repellent against mosquitoes and other little gnats that might come around, right? That's how this vaccine really is working on the, you know, when you get it, and then it just start recreating itself throughout, you know, your cell or your cell membranes, you know, what I'm saying, basically all throughout your skin and all over your body, where you can create a defense mechanism against it, right? That's what an immune response does. It creates your front line. So you got to look at it in the same sense. So when we get the vaccine, that's all we're doing. We create a stronger front line, so that when we encounter it, it repels off as a mosquito would if you had off on.
Yeah, let me add something to that, Shawn.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's still the novel SARS coronavirus 2. It hasn't mutated to the point where it's a whole new thing. It's the same thing, just it's like a variation, right? And so it's still there. It's not nothing. So the vaccine should be effective, because it's not something totally different. You know what I'm saying? Like Homo sapiens, like white people, right? You got African and white people. Although they look different, they still the same species. You get that?
Yeah, kind of like dichotomy. Kind of like the dichotomy of.
Yeah, it's that right there. I swear, it's like the Asian and all that. They look different, but they the same. So just like they don't have race specific medicine. You know what I'm saying? Like we still at. It's not like Neanderthal, and even Neanderthal, Homo sapiens could mix with Neanderthal. But the start, the cove is the same. It's not. It's like a white boy and an African. They might look a little different and all that, different strand of humanity, but it's still Homo sapiens sapien. I think that's how I understand it.
Yeah, that was a good explanation. Zion asks, is there any significance of each strand?
No, it's still cove. It's still the novel SARS coronavirus 2.
Right, SARS-CoV-2.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yep. Just it's called evolution. That's why we taught evolution. You know what I'm saying? We taught evolution so that we can understand it. We talk about how viruses evolve. Viruses evolve very quickly. But if viruses can evolve, then other life forms can evolve.
Yeah, my son right now, man, today he was tripping. He was getting frustrated. He was taking the science class, doing the science work, and he wasn't comprehending what adaptation was immediately after the little videos that they actually give him. So a better explanation so that he could understand it and try to go over it like multiple times until he thought about it. Now, the example that they gave was that polar bears, they create a coat of fur to help them stay warm in the climate. And then there's like they took the polar bear out of his climate and brought him into to Florida, where he was found in a zoo. And then they go through a scenario. Then they said two people had a response to that. One person said that the polar bear would not adapt to his environment and will continue to grow fur. The other person said that the polar bear will adapt to his environment and will not grow much fur. And then it posed a question to him, and this is his first time hearing about adaptation. So I was like, listen, you're dealing with an organism, an environment, and temperature. And I said, those are the three things that you need to focus on, is that all living things are organisms. And that, they're all in many different type of environments. And the temperature can be different according to wherever they are, in the world. So it took him a minute, then he finally got it, and then he broke down his answer into his thing. But you know, it's similar. It's that goes back to everything that we basically been saying about this thing. But you know, this virus don't care about environment.
And go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
No. You go ahead.
I would say, and too, when listening to these medical professionals or scientists, or even reading the literature, the listening audience should be very careful too in understanding the difference between infection and disease. Like you don't necessarily catch the disease, you catch the infection, which causes the disease. So infection is pretty much the virus has caught you. You can be infected without showing symptoms. Okay, so you have the infection. The disease starts when you start showing the symptoms, the cough, the sneeze, the fever, the ache. And so I wanted people to understand that difference too. So when you hear people like Fauci or some of these other well-known medical professionals using that lingo, you have to make sure you understand what they're saying. And he gave a very detailed explanation and understand in the video you showed about infection, right? Infection, and I think he may have honed on disease just a little bit, but he was explaining infection. So some people, he was like, you know, one of the questions they're asking is, can you get vaccinated but still have the disease? And it still infects you, right? But and can you infect others? So I think it's very important that people understand the difference between them terms, because it can get misconstrued to the point where they misunderstand the entire concept.
Appreciate that. Let me see here, man. I'm trying to make sure that we up on everything else. Yeah, because yesterday we did the you know, pretty much had the conversation with John. We played the vaccine, the tracking project, and we deal with the update. So we pretty much up to date as far as all the signs go. We're aware of the new variant. You know, Fauci and them just said they getting it. I know Rob Warren would like to see the scientists get it before the front line. Yeah, I mean Fauci get it before the people in the hospital get it, but you know,
That would be self-drive.
Yeah.
I want to see Fauci get it, but niggas, I'm telling you, we ain't getting it. Got a long time, yo. That shit ain't, man. Listen, man, go. I tell you what, y'all go looking for a COVID-19 vaccine right now. See how long it take you to get it. Start checking at your Rite Aid and all that. Your local doctors. Shit. Hey, did y'all watch the football game last night?
I heard, is that when Jackson cut up? I heard Jackson cut up.
No, that's not the point. You know he had COVID-19, right?
Yeah.
Damn.
So since when do your arm and shit be cramping? I'm telling you, he's feeling the effects of COVID-19 right now.
Yeah.
He was very tired. Shit is, y'all check that out though.
He was dehydrated at the end of the game.
Yeah, his shit ain't. He ain't back, yo. That shit on his
let
head.
me let me pose this question then. With that being said, will there be a cure for it? Because it seemed like y'all saying people that got it still have existing symptoms of it. So will there be like a cure for it in the near future? How long these symptoms gonna last? What they saying about that?
Well, you know, there is no antidote typically for viral pathogens. Now they do have Tamiflu, but you have to take it within a certain or given period. But there typically isn't an antidote for a virus. Typically, the best way to beat a virus is to engage in preventative measures, which would be vaccination or mask or social distance, things of that nature. So once you catch it, though, you know, viruses do so much, and it's pretty much your body response to the virus that is the problem. Okay, there's a foreign invader in there, and depending on how your body will react to that virus is what will kill you. Okay, what parts of the body does the virus affect the most? That's dependent upon different immune systems. It's just a game of pandemic Russian roulette. You don't know if you'll be that person. So you could think your immune system is healthy and things of that nature. Now, that doesn't mean don't have a healthy immune system. Don't engage in I'm not telling you not to engage in getting plenty of rest, food, nutritious, and all that thing. Yes, you want to be in as optimal health as possible. You don't want to have a high fat content in your blood, and you don't want hypertension, right? They're starting to see those ACE, angiotensin converting enzymes, plaguing the RAS system of African Americans, and we run around here with hypertension. So we taking these ACE inhibitor, right? You do want to be in optimal health, but there is no senzu bean that's gonna make you Super Saiyan. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't work like that. And we have that type of a mindset, especially in our community. We're so used to there being some plant that you can just go eat and voila. No, your body. That's the genius of the human body. Like there's so many different cells in your body, and the way they mount a response so that they'll recognize this pathogen at another or a later date, and prevent this from happening again. That's the beauty of vaccination, and I think that's the issue is people don't understand the science, and so it's kind of that you fear what you don't know thing. But curing it, no. I don't see that happening no time soon. And I haven't read anything that said anything about a cure, but there are treatments. So once you get it, there have been treatments that they've been using. A couple have been in the news, right? Being very controversial. They was talking about the hydroxychloroquine and all that the anti-malaria. No. At one point it was dexamethasone. I think now studies on that are showing different things from what they were showing initially, but that's a corticosteroid, and what they do is they are anti-inflammatory. Remember, when your body incurs a different pathogen, it goes through this process of inflammation, and that includes swelling, producing heat, redness, tissue death, yes, I'm missing one of them. It's 5 steps, but when you take an anti-inflammatory, it reduces the body's response in that manner. And so that's why they were giving medicines like dexamethasone on steroids. But that medicine has side effects. You know what I mean? Like, we're in the age now, man, when we're taking medicines like aspirin, which if you take too many, you can bleed to death, or you give to the wrong age group, they can catch rye disease. These medicines have more side effects than a vaccine, bro. We popping mollies and smoking cigarettes, and we beating up vaccine when we got a goddamn vaccination record. You got a shot, not you in particular, but the people that are gonna still got a shot record. So you already been vaccinated. You got remnants of a vaccine in your bloodstream right now. One of them giving you lifelong immunity if you didn't catch it. Chickenpox, varicella. I mean, people don't we so egotistical, man. Nature will attack you, bro. You are not immune to nature getting in your ass. But the beauty of the human body is over time, it created this immune system function as to where it it recognizes these things that's outside your body. Your skin is there for a purpose. It's not just there for temperature regulation or the production of hair or convection through sweat. It's not just there for that. It's to separate you from the outside environment, because once some come in, it's on and popping. Like them boys pulling up with that armor, the monocytes, you know what I'm saying, the macrophage, they coming. And that is the most effective treatment that as of now, until we find it senzu bean.
Well, that will conclude this show. We had a lot of science and a lot of raw born in the middle of it. But all in all, man, we found a way to learn. So I think that's a good spot to end it at. Went a little bit over than I wanted to go. But this episode 8 Science with Shawn. Peace.
gentlemen, the books is in. The books are in. Yep. They in. Mm-hmm. They're here.